Okay, I found the frickin' headphones. Found them. Now we can do an actual stream. I'm so irritated. They were right in front of me. I thought that they were the old On pair. I didn't take a close enough look, and then I realized, no, these are the new Skull Candy ones. I'm an idiot. I feel incompetent as shit right now. That it pisses me off to no end. I don't like being incompetent. Like, in my everyday life, I don't like being incompetent. It really bugs me. And, I'll admit I'm upset. Either way, we're back. I'm not as upset. I just decided to delete the last live stream and just decided to turn everything back on. I'm still upset that I was that incompetent, dude. I'm trying not to freak the fuck out. I'm doing everything in my power not to freak the hell out. But I found him. But my incompetence was the reason I didn't see him at first. My stupid lack of being able to analyze anything. I know it sounds ridiculous to get pissed off about misplacing headphones, but it does piss me off. I rarely misplace anything, so when I do misplace something, it's very upsetting to me. Pisses me off. I don't care if anybody else. I'm not, like, if somebody misplaces something, I'll help them find it, but I get it. I get it if people get pissed when they misplace things. All right, you guys, we're ready, though. I am not as upset. I needed to calm down for a second, though, and it's hot as fuck in this room. It's probably because I'm cooking something in the slow cooker, and that doesn't help at all. Hold on. But I found the headphones. I'm probably more upset about this, probably because, one, I still have a bit of a hangover from last night. Two, yeah, I just haven't drank in a while, so I'm very irritable. Whatever. Okay. Let's react to some videos. Is Iran jealous of Trump? I say yes.
Some of what's reported to be Iran's desires here. And looking at it from a layman's perspective, it seems like they want to ease some of the restrictions so that their economy can get back up and running. And they want to suspend their program, but not for very long. So it seems like maybe they're just looking to recuperate their program and reestablish their economy so that they can continue to fund terrorism and a nuclear program. Obviously, totally.
Yeah, and this is the thing, man. Iran, I don't trust Iran. They have been the bully of the Middle East for a while. And it's wild to me, man. It's wild.
Unacceptable to President Trump.
Yeah, President Trump has to walk away with some definitive wins. And there are some, I think, strategically, if you're in the Pentagon, you look at it and say, hey, we can fly our jets through the Strait of Hormuz. We can do a lot of things right now that maybe we were worried about before. But President Trump has to have wins that are easily presented to the American people. He said we got to go and get the nuclear stuff, and obviously opening up the strait. The New York Times earlier today was reporting that both sides might be interested in a 30-day kind of continuation. I think President Trump is just waiting on Iran to give him a reason to continue taking out their military.
That's the thing, man. Trump is going to have every reason here pretty soon because we all know that Iran's not working with Trump. We can have all the wishful thinking we want in the world, but we know it's not happening. It's pretty obvious it's not happening. I mean, in what reality are we thinking this is going to happen? Come on, people.
That's what I think.
That might be very well the case. There's a little tit for tat back and forth, but I guess the ceasefire is still holding Mali. This is going to be a big week, though, for the president and getting some other countries involved here. And I said yesterday, but I think all eyes are going to be on China and what influence they can have over this. What do you anticipate? I
mean, we'll see what China's influence is ultimately on all this. But I think China's cooked. I think China's kind of cooked too, because if China doesn't get any oil from Iran or through the Strait of Hormuz, they're kind of in a bad position,
That's going to be for this week.
Yeah, a big week, big meetings with Xi in China, and China could potentially play a big role here. It seems like they've kind of laid back a little bit on this front. They don't necessarily need Iran, although they're the one of the biggest buyers of the energy that they need. They also have other ways to survive this. If it goes on months, that China will be okay. So they will be able to focus on some of those other issues that are likely to come up, like Taiwan, for instance, which will be a major sticking point, a point of contention, and interesting to see what comes out of that. So I think the discussions will be broad, certainly about the economy and also definitely on Iran. But I think China has a little room to play with on this issue.
Guys, is this a stalemate?
Well, when Trump was walking in that one, was he walking in?
A point of contention, and interesting to see what comes
that
out
was
of
in
that.
China, damn.
So I think the discussions will be broad, certainly about the economy and also definitely on Iran. But I think China has a little room to play with on this issue.
Guys, is this a stalemate?
I don't think so, because so much is...
This is far from a stalemate. Are you kidding me? A stalemate implies that neither side can really, that it's a draw. It's not a draw. The U.S. clearly has the superior firepower. The U.S. is trying to come to an agreement because they don't want any more bloodshed, right? That's the thing. However, honestly, the best thing you could do is go after Iran, man. Let's face it. Iran's not working with us. They're just not.
Has already been achieved. I think the talks are a stalemate. I'm not sure what the point of this is. I'm also not sure what the point is of trying to get a UN resolution.
Yeah.
With all due respect.
Yeah, who cares about the UN? Let's just find a way to end the war quickly. That's really it.
Maybe it's just kind of making the point that, why do you guys exist? What's the point of you if this outlaw regime is going to shut down an international waterway with all these illegal mines, et cetera? Are you going to do anything, even say something to scold them? Or are you too busy scolding Israel every 4 seconds to even notice or care?
Yeah, well, the sad part is the UN has made their intentions pretty clear. Allegedly, they love Iran more than Israel,
At this point, Joey, I tend to agree with you. I think President Trump might be looking for Iran to give him a reason to finish the military job. We've heard from some of our military experts here that maybe 20% of the targets that we had good intelligence on have not been hit yet. We've been sitting in this quasi-ceasefire for weeks. This seems to me, this response from the Iranians strikes me as more.
Oh, we got our boy Uncle Chris in the house. What up, Uncle Chris? Love you, Brony.
Game playing from these people? Go ahead.
No, like the UN resolution, like the ultimate effect of that is what? But I think there is a lot of diplomacy going on right now, just not with Iran. I think there's a bunch of diplomacy going on with the Middle Eastern countries that have come closer to us in all of this. I think there is some diplomacy going on with NATO countries. I mean, I think Mike Waltz and Marco Rubio are working really hard because if we do have to escalate our actions, at this point, the focus is now at the Strait of Hormuz, whereas 2 months ago, it was, what are we taking out within Iran? Are we going to take out the regime? Are we going to allow, are we going to do enough that they can overturn the regime? And now it's more, can we?
Hey, Chris Rule, I love you too, Brony. You're the man, dude. My Brony bro. You're a pink Brony bro. And you dance at the gay clubs, oh my God.
Open up the Strait of Hormuz? Can we clear it out? And I think the diplomacy there is we can with everyone helping us. That's undeniable. I don't know that we need everyone's help, but I think it makes it a lot easier in this country going into the midterms if the other countries come on board in some way.
Well, hopefully some of the other countries come on board, but there's no guarantee of that. That's for sure. You know, and you, as much as I would love to be idealistic about that and about all this, I've even tried to be idealistic about Iran, and to be honest, it's not been easy.
Even if it's a UN resolution.
If they're being helpful in the Strait, I agree. My understanding is there are significant military targets within Iran that we've held back on, and I'm just wondering what's the point of still holding back there if the regime's going to keep.
We're going to for very long.
I suspect you might be right.
Joey, do you think that the calculation is all about politics domestically? Do you think that that's the reason for the hesitation?
I think domestic politics are a bigger part of the decision making today than they were 6 weeks ago. I think that I think it's kind of obvious that we stopped Epic Fury on the 60th day. Not because President Trump thought he would be withheld by the War Powers Act, but because why create that turmoil for Republicans in Congress if you don't have to, if there's a way out, if there's a way to continue. If we started Operation...
Honestly, I think it's been nothing but time wasted. Iran's stalling. They don't want peace. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but I don't think Iran wants peace. I just don't. It just doesn't seem likely. It really doesn't. Give me one more moment, guys. I need to check something real quick. Hold on. Be right back. Okay, let's party.
Again, they've already said it's going to be part of Project Freedom. So, and their idea, their legal argument may be that 60-day clock starts over.
That's a new mission.
And
yes.
The Gulf nations are also very frustrated with the continued drone attacks. The UAE, Kuwait, they're defending against these drone attacks, and the Qatari tanker that was struck. So this continued frustration also plays a role in that.
Yeah, that's the diplomacy among the Middle Eastern countries that may not have been at the table at the beginning of this, but now very much are.
And they're still attacking ships. Right, so the Iranians are attacking us. They're attacking ships in international waters. They are sending back a totally unacceptable response on the negotiations. I mean, the box are...
Yeah, and so what we've been able to see from Iran's response, it's been dismal, man. It's been mixed messages, and I don't even know who the hell's in charge in Iran. Like, it's crazy, man. Maybe Trump is playing 4D chess. I think he is. But this is wild, dude. This needs to Trump, I'm sorry, dude, use the military. Just end this. Get rid of the Iranian leadership. Okay? Just do it. Simple. It's not simple, but it's the logical course of action. All right? Come on.
The boxes rather are getting checked in my mind for Trump to say, to hell with this. Let's finish Epic Fury or start Epic Fury 2.0.
Yeah, just finish it, dude. There's no reason for this to continue. None.
Whatever the technicality might be.
One thing we should always point out, or I think we should point out, is this blockade that we're doing is perfectly legal with none of the other things happening. We have sanctioned this country to high heaven. There are ships on a list that we should be stopping anyway or could be stopping anyway. And so when it comes to those other countries, they can't really blame the blockade. And I think that's...
Jason is saying that his son says the Iranian attacks are laughable. Damn, dude. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. But no, Trump's on the right path, man. Trump dog is on the right path, bro. You know it. I know it. The American people know it. Let's go, dude.
That's part of it is, listen, we're doing the heavy work for you that you've all agreed to 6 months ago when you thought it wouldn't cost you anything. Now you might have to put some blood and treasure in this righteous fight that we've all agreed on for years.
And it is strangling their economy every day, which I think also goes to your question about stalemate.
Yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News.
Interesting. China ignoring U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil. Let's take a look.
And we've seen just enormous loadings of American crude. In fact, if you look at the last, 30, 45 days, the biggest exporter of oil in the world, is the United States. So, yes, we have reserves. We have the ability to produce oil to supply not just the United States, but also our friends and allies.
Yep.
And that's Energy Secretary Christopher Wright with me this week on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business on the U.S. producing more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined as President Trump unleashes America's energy independence that was stifled under the Biden administration. Now, new reports that China is directing its companies to ignore U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil, which applies to several Chinese refineries, and they are accused by the U.S. of buying crude oil from Iran, including a network of independent processors known as teapot refineries. On Monday, an oil tanker marked China owner and crew was attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, causing a fire on the deck. President Trump is set to travel to China on Thursday for a high-stakes meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, as we discussed. The two leaders are expected to discuss Iran, AI, tariffs, and potentially Taiwan. Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Pennsylvania Senator David McCormick, who
Glizzy wants me to explain the petrodollar. Well, I know that because and I'm not very good at explaining this, so I'm going to try my best. So the petrodollar is pretty simple if I remember right. Oil is traded in U.S. dollars, basically, which is one of the reasons why it's probably one of the reasons why we're the reserve currency of the world. If we weren't the reserve currency of the world, we would not be able to get away with the level of money printing that the Federal Reserve does. We wouldn't be able to we would not be able to get away with that at all, straight up. Yeah, Trump's right, man. Eric, dude, Trump's the man, dude. I love Daddy Trump.
who sits on the Senate Energy Committee. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, good morning, and happy Mother's Day to all your viewers. Dean and I are here in Pittsburgh with my mom, Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and one of our daughters. So great day in Pennsylvania.
Well, happy Mother's Day to your mom and to Dina. We so appreciate you being here on this special day. Senator, you've been working on a bill on permitting, and I want to get into that because this is really important. The president put several executive orders in place to cut down regulations, make it easier for the oil companies to drill, baby drill, and we need to see those things codified. What do you want to say about this bill and the likelihood that, in fact, it does get these things codified?
Well, there's an energy dominance, moment of abundance happening in America based on what President Trump has done. It's been incredible. I just saw it over the last couple of days. I went to Homer City. They're in the process of transitioning a coal-fired plant to a gas-fired plant that'll create 4.5 gigawatts, the biggest project in the country today. That's
It's a lot of energy.
1% of all of America's energy demand. So we are becoming a huge net energy exporter. And you can't say AI without saying energy dominance, too. So this is incredible for the people of Pennsylvania. It's incredible for America.
I know there's a lot of people who are against AI, but, dude, AI is the future, man. AI is the future. I know. Who am I to say that AI is the future? Who am I to say? You know I'm right, don't you?
The president's agenda has to be solidified, and we need permitting reform to do that. It takes about 6 years to get an energy project permit. It took 3.5 years to win World War II. We can do a lot better than this. So my bill essentially restricts the amount of time for review to about a year, ensures that once decisions are made, they're final, and regulators have to give justification if they turn down a project. So basic, so common sense. But if we can do these things, we're going to unleash $1.5 trillion of capital into our economy. It's not just energy policy, it's economic policy.
It sure is. And national security policy, I would say as well. And in keeping in that theme, what do you want to say about the Strait of Hormuz and this war in Iran? Senator, your military background is a central part of who you are and your identity. You are a former Army officer, West Point graduate. You are a Gulf War combat veteran. Where is this?
Damn, man, this guy's got the accolades. Holy shit. Damn, dude.
War right now with Iran. Do we know if the Iranians have accepted or rejected President Trump's proposal? And are you expecting the free flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz soon?
Well, I think we're at a crossroads. There's no doubt that phase one was an extraordinarily successful military operation. The president's goals, destroying the missiles, destroying the drones, destroying the launchers, and destroying the manufacturing capability has been wildly.
Why would we? I don't think we're not going to pay double the price for electricity. So here's the thing. All the things that liberals tend to predict tend to be wrong. Like, they've predicted so many things about Trump. Trump won't win the election. Trump's going to go to jail. Trump's going to do this. Trump's going to do that. And yet every single woke prediction has not, I mean, maybe some of them have come to fruition, but most of the woke predictions that these woke people come up with never come to fruition. They exaggerate everything. They're like, oh, this is going to happen. You'll see. Trump wants to be a dictator. So far, he's taken out dictators. And by the way, we have checks and balances. So even if he did want to be a dictator, there's no way in hell he could. That's why we have the three branches of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. Those three branches exist as a failsafe for a person's corruption. So even if Donald Trump wanted to be a dictator, he doesn't technically have the power to do that. He doesn't. So yeah. Dude, we have checks and balances, absolutely. The judicial system is there, along with everything else. No, I don't want a one-party country. I am anti-Democrat, though. So I'm okay if the Democrats exist. I just don't understand why people think that the Democrat Party is the way. And by the way, the Democrat Party is still, even though the Republican Party's become extremely unpopular, the Democratic Party is just as unpopular right now. In fact, they're more unpopular than the Republican Party still. So yeah, nobody wants to vote Democrat either. People want to change. They want a third party. And honestly, I can't say I blame people. The Democrats have betrayed the working class. The Republicans have kind of sat on their hands about a lot of stuff too. Donald Trump's the only one who's taken action, though. He's MAGA, you know. MAGA means take action to make America great again. So I like it.
Successful, and now the Iranians have a choice. They can move down a path to peace and prosperity. The great Persian society, the great Persian people, is a great civilization.
Give me a moment, though. Actually, I got to put my...
But it's been run by radicals for 50 years. If they give up their enriched uranium, give up their nuclear weapons and the path to nuclear weapons, there's going to be a great opportunity for them. But it's unclear whether they're going to go down a path of reason. If they don't, the president's made clear that we have the military capability to put additional pressure.
I just don't think they will go down the path of reason, man. I just don't think they have the capability. But, you know, whatever. If you guys can, though, don't forget to tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. Once again, tap that subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. We're at 10,528 subs. We're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers before the end of the week. We're going to see if we can pull that off. Let's keep watching.
Pressure in place. The blockade that the president put in place has been wildly successful. It's putting pressure not only on Iran, but also on China. I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion with the Chinese president. So I think we have to wait and see. I'm hoping the Iranians will go down a path of peace, but we have to be very careful. They are not trustworthy.
I don't know.
It's in their interest. It's in the world's interest. But it's in their hands.
I'm not feeling it, man.
You got a big week ahead as well as you return from recess. Senator, let me get your take on the Clarity Act and on Kevin Warsh. We just heard Kevin Hassett say he has the votes. You're in the banking committee, obviously, and he passed that.
So Trump's trying to run for a third term? Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, if there's a legal way, if there's a way to do it, I don't know. Look, I love Trump. I think he's the man, but by the time a third term comes around, he is going to be too old for the position, in my opinion. So I think that it would be best to have a guy like J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio even. Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance, one or the other. But, man, Trump's one of a kind, man. Trump dog is one of a kind, so. But, yeah, J.D. Vance 2028, I'm down for that. Absolutely. But, yeah, Trump would just be too old by then, dude. As much as I would love Trump 2028, he'd be too old. So, he's not too old now. He's doing pretty good.
Are you expecting Kevin Warsh to get confirmed next week? Does he start in his new job Friday, even with Jay Powell staying around as governor? And what about the market structure bill, the Clarity Act, next week?
Well, I think that Kevin Warsh was a fantastic pick by the president. I was honored to be able to introduce him. I do think he'll be confirmed this coming week. It could go into the next week after that, but certainly prior to the end of Chairman Powell's term. Listen, I think we need to move forward. I think the Fed will do so under Chairman Warsh's leadership. I don't think it really matters what Jay Powell does. I hope he'll eventually step down. That's the precedent. But this will be Kevin Warsh's Fed, and I think it'll be his to lead. And we're lucky to have him because it's a time of great uncertainty and change. With regard to the Clarity Act, listen, I think we're on the verge of an agreement here. We've been saying that for some weeks now, but I suspect there'll be a markup in May. And I think this is going to be very necessary to ensure consumer protections, to ensure certainty for an industry that's burgeoning. We want to make sure it happens here in America, not offshore. And there's been great leadership by a number of my Senate colleagues, Senator Haggerty, Senator Loomis, Senator Moreno, who I know you have next. That leadership, I think, has put us in a place where we can hopefully have an agreement here shortly.
And Senator, still no agreement from the Democrats in terms of funding ICE and Border Patrol. What are your expectations for the reconciliation package? Will you be able to get that on the president's desk by June?
I think we will. Listen, this has been absolute political theater by the Democrats, by Chuck Schumer. If you ever doubted their ability to drive over a cliff to not pay members of TSA, the Secret Service, CISA, our cybersecurity protection, in a time when the threat is growing, they're willing to do anything to try to go after President Trump, even hurt the American people or the people who serve us. Republicans have found a path through that, which is ultimately to fund ICE and Border Patrol through reconciliation that'll go past the end of President Trump's term. That'll make sure that the Democrats can't hold the government hostage. Again, I'll never vote to do that. I think it's a disgrace. And so we're going to get through this thing. And it's been, unfortunately, several machinations to do that. I apologize to those who serve us.
Laugh out loud.
And in the government.
High-heeled shoe emoji. High-heeled shoe emoji. High-heeled shoe emoji. High-heeled shoe emoji. High-heeled shoe emoji.
Major General Tao. What is going on, my brony bro, dude? What up, man? It's good to see you. We got Major General Tao in the house. Thank you for the $2 super chat, by the way. I appreciate you, brony. Yeah, dude. We got the Major General Tao, baby. Hey, thank you for the super chat, $2 super chat. I'm assuming that you're talking about the Pink Brony Club. Pink Brony Club. I'm going to keep on fapping at the Pink Brony Club. All right, here we go.
That haven't been paid or have been paid and then not paid. But I think we're at the end here, and we can move forward. But the Democrats have absolutely really done a disservice to the great people who serve us.
And I know that the president wanted the Save America Act in there, but you have to do this slim bill and deal with the reconciliation for appropriations, which is crazy. But, Senator, do you expect another reconciliation package before the midterms to include, and would it include the Save America Act?
Boy, I sure hope so. I would certainly support a third reconciliation. There are elements of the Save America Act. Listen, no one understands how important it is that
Major General Tao is saying swing trade Doge. The only problem is Doge is a cryptocurrency, and anything with an intrinsic value is zero, which is every cryptocurrency, allegedly. If it has an intrinsic value of zero, I don't want to swing trade it. Oh, hey, thank you, Major General Tao, for gifting a Michael Garza gift membership. I appreciate you. It looks like Coyote 3 received a gift membership from Major
Laugh out loud.
General Tao 43. Hey, everybody give a shout-out to Major General Tao, everybody. Incredible human being. We love our boy, Major General. He's awesome.
Every vote that's counted be a legitimate vote. I lost my first election by 900 votes and won my second by 15,000 out of 7 million. So this is incredibly important. And whether the facts of illegitimate voting are are small or big, they're big enough to make a difference and change the course of history. So we need to address this with voter ID, and I think there's a possibility of getting some version
Laugh out loud.
or
Imagine rolls of pennies instead of dollars. Smiley face emoji.
On the stage in my hooves, I'm wearing a man thong down. Okay. Thank you, Coyote 3. I appreciate it big time. Imagine rolls of pennies instead of dollars. Hey, thank you very much, though. Hey, we were able. Thank you to Major General Tao for these gifted membership to allow Coyote 3 to become a Michael Garza Show member. By the way, as a member, you get to check out my exclusive, elusive content. Mainly, I talk about my investing strategies, and it's only 99 cents a month, too. Now, granted, you could subscribe for 99 cents for just 1 month, check out my entire library of exclusive content, and then you could dip out if you want. You never have to be committed to the subscription. You could cancel at any time. We'd prefer you keep it, but we're going to try to earn you. We're going to try to earn your viewership on the membership stuff. So, yeah, it's really cool. Major General Tao, I do not intend to.
or parts of the Save America Act and a future reconciliation. I will support every and any aspect of that. We need to get this done. The American people don't have confidence in their elections, which is a real tragedy, and we in Congress need to do everything.
And I understand that. People think that a lot of... I get that. I understand the sentiment, man.
And we can to stop it.
Laugh out loud.
Senator, great to have
I
you
saw
this
your
morning.
members only video today.
Yeah, I saw your comment earlier, too. I responded to it. It was pretty funny. The Dogecoin, I saw Dogecoin, I was like, no. Bad Major General Tao. Bad Major General. Hey, but I do want to thank you, Coyote3, for the super chat big time. And once again, major shout out to Major General Tao for gifting a membership to our boy, our man, Coyote3. Thank you. Big time. Actually, you know what? We're going to replay some of these super chats. Hold on.
Laugh out loud. High-heeled shoe emoji, high-heeled shoe emoji, high-heeled shoe emoji, high-heeled shoe emoji, high-heeled shoe emoji.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Laugh out loud. Imagine rolls of pennies instead of dollars, smiley face emoji.
I know you do, Major General. I know you do. I love you anyway, man.
Laugh out loud. I saw your members only video today.
Thanks so much. We'll be watching your work.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full.
It's all about liking and simp-scribing. It's all about simp-scribing. Give me just a second. Oh, bombshell report. California spent billions on migrant health care. Let's take a listen.
I believe everybody in California has a right to health care.
Congresswoman Porter, your thoughts on the idea of funding health care for undocumented immigrants statewide?
Yes.
Yes, and
that's, by the way, what I think Californians...
Are you serious? Healthcare funding for undocumented immigrants. Dude, that's insane. Really?
...deserve as answers to these questions, Alex.
And immigrants, whether documented or not, work hard. They pay taxes. And sometimes they get injured on the job or their children get sick.
Well, if you're an illegal immigrant, you shouldn't be in the U.S. That's the point. Holy crap, dude. We're living in clown world. We're living in clown world, everybody.
And that's Democrat candidates in this week's debate.
Don't forget to tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. Once again, do not forget to tap the subscribe button. It helps us grow. We're at 10,529 subs. We're trying to get to 10,000. We're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers by the end of the night. So,
vying to become the next governor of California on providing fully funded state-backed health care to illegal immigrants. Facing a $12 billion budget shortfall in the last fiscal year budget, California Governor Gavin Newsom has scaled back some state health care for illegal immigrants, with California's health care now covering about 1.7 million illegal immigrants, mostly funded by California taxpayers to the tune of nearly $11 billion. It's a big issue in this race, and joining me now is California Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton. Steve, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. How much is that an issue among the other issues for California voters? What can you tell us about your race right now?
Maria, it's a really big issue because there are really big costs now being put onto every Californian. The healthcare costs are going up. It takes longer and longer to wait for care wherever you go because of the overwhelming number of people.
No, I appreciate it, Mr. C. I know you're saying you're trying to get to no limit of subscribers, even higher expectations. I like that. You know what? There's no limit to how many subscribers we have. Thank you, Coyote. I appreciate you helping me think big, man. I appreciate the encouragement, bro. But no, thank you so much. There's no limit to how many subscribers we have. So please tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. It really does help in a lot of ways. So I appreciate you guys.
People who are coming who shouldn't be here getting that care, and the taxes are going up. We pay the highest taxes in the country for the worst results. And in the face of all of that, what do you get from all of those Democrats in the debate last week was more of the same or even further left. That's why I said right at the beginning of my campaign, no free health care for illegal immigrants. We got to get the budget down, spending down, so we can cut taxes. Your first 100 grand tax-free, a flat tax of 7.5% over 100 grand, and we got to...
Yeah, flat tax. I still think that even if you're making over 100 grand, I just say flat tax in general. Low flat tax across the board. That's what I believe. For everybody, no exceptions. Maybe like 4 or 5% federal income tax. That's all.
Implement the tax changes that the president has made at the national level. Here in California, Gavin Newsom is blocking no tax on tips. I said we would implement that as well. We've got to relieve the pain and the pressure.
Small wiener
on
gang.
working people and small business.
Thank you so much, Athanasios Leakris. I probably said your name wrong, but thank you so much for subscribing. In fact, I'm going to put your name back up on the board because I just want to say I appreciate you for subscribing. Let's put your name right back up on the board real quick. Small wiener gang. Love you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate the sub.
Businesses in California.
Well, how could he block no tax on tips when it's in the federal big beautiful bill legislation for the country, for the overall the entire country? How could he block it?
Well, it's being implemented federally, but for state taxes, most other states have matched it either automatically or they've passed legislation to match it in terms of state taxes, but California hasn't done that. So
Wow.
Workers in California, I'm in restaurants and bars the whole time talking to people who've got these totally escalating costs on everything. Highest gas prices in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Electric bills that have
California's insane.
doubled in the last 10 years. The highest housing costs and rents. Everything off the charts expensive. So you get a bit of relief there. In other states, no tax on tips for working people, but not in California. They want to keep more of your money.
That's unbelievable.
Well, that's how the California government is. They believe you could tax away a problem, but the problem is California just keeps creating more and more and more problems. So at the end of the day, it just becomes a little too crazy, you know.
Well, look, right now we are seeing this major interest from Republicans supporting you in California. Also, Spencer Pratt running for mayor in Los Angeles. Could we see?
I love Spencer Pratt, by the way, dude. If I lived in Los Angeles, man, I would be voting for Spencer Pratt in a New York minute. I love Spencer Pratt, dude. He's my boy, dude. That's my man. That's the guy. Spencer mother effing Pratt, bro. Coyote says, California. I'm just going to call you Mr. C. How does that sound? Mr. C says, California knows how to party on your tax dollar. Very true. Very true.
See a wave of Republicans take over in California? Do you really think you can pull that off?
Yes, look, it's so bad here. I mean, this is the point. Wherever you look, you've got the crime and chaos on the streets. The school results are a disaster. The economic situation is a disaster. Highest unemployment rate in the country, highest poverty rate in the country. It's just so bad after 16 years of one-party rule. People have had enough, and I know that people look at...
Well, that's the thing. Democrats have definitely ruined California in a lot of ways. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You know, there's a lot of drug problems there, even worse than even worse than here in Oregon, shockingly. So California is pretty cooked, in my opinion. I think that first off, they need to stop being soft on crime. I think that's a big mistake. You never want to be too soft on drug crime, especially. You got to get these people into rehab. They can't just, you know, it's either jail or rehab. That should be those are the two options. You could either go to jail, you know, or have the option to go to rehab. And then after they've been in jail for a certain amount of time, maybe like a couple months, they could then be like, hey, rehab is an option. Do you want to go through a rehabilitation program? That's what I want to see. You know. But it's neither here nor there.
California to say, oh, it's such a Democrat state. But remember, President Trump got more votes in California in 2024 than I will need to win this year in November in the general election. It's all about the turnout. And there's a really big thing that everyone needs to understand, which is here in California, whatever happens with the Save America Act, we're going to be able to vote for voter ID in November. It's on the ballot in California. That's going to really get a big Republican turnout. So I think the mismanagement is so bad. I'm putting forward a positive, practical, pro-worker plan. So is Spencer Pratt. He's going to clean up L.A. I think people are sick of it. I've got Democrats coming to my events, big industry guys in tech and Hollywood, all saying we've had enough. They've supported Democrats for years, but they're coming to my campaign because they know we desperately need change.
Well, look, you've seen big money leave the state. People are very upset about this billionaires tax. They're upset about high taxes. Some analysts and commentators say that the cumulative wealth shift is up, ranging from $500 billion all the way up to more than $1 trillion just in the last decade.
Mr. C, I like that comment, by the way. That's funny. That's a damn good comment, brother. I like it.
Decade because of all of these taxes. What's the impact of that? Of all of these high-profile people and businesses leaving the state because of high taxes?
That's a big deal.
Well, one impact is in the fact that we got the highest unemployment rate because the jobs aren't being created here. You were just talking about AI. All those giant AI companies, they're based in California, but all the investment, the semiconductors, the data, all the manufacturing, the real job creation from that, that's going to Texas and Arizona. And exactly as you say, the people who are leaving who pay most of the taxes in California, that means we're billions of dollars down in terms of tax revenue. And that's what we got to turn all that around.
California is pushing
taxes,
the rich people out.
Raising spending and driving people out, we've got to cut taxes.
And now they're not going to be able to pay for their stupid socialist programs.
Which is what we need in California.
Well,
which
let
is
me
what
tell you,
California
New York
deserves.
is watching what happens in California because if this
Ruin.
goes through with that billionaires tax, Mamdani in New York and Hochul in New York.
Ugh, I can't stand Zoran Mamdani. If you guys think that Zoran Mamdani is a complete tool, tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. If you guys are just tired of the leftist agenda, you're done with it. You're done with the left. You're like, screw this, I'm out. Tap the subscribe button if you've had it up to here. with the left. Because a lot of us have. A lot of us have been angry. I've been angry. I'll admit it. I'll be honest with you. I've been peeved off, dude. It's nice to see Spencer Pratt. Yeah. The British guy sounds American first, more American first. Exactly. Exactly, Mr. C. It's crazy, man. Freaking
Are
wild.
going to think nothing of putting that through in New York. And I'm just wondering if you believe that Gavin Newsom is not really behind it, because he says, look, I'm against this tax. I don't agree with this billionaire's tax. A lot of people say Kathy Hochul is saying she doesn't believe with some of Mamdani's proposals. But after November and the election there, she's going to go align with him on everything. Does Gavin Newsom align with all of this after the election as well? In terms of his office?
Well, look, Maria, he did nothing to stop it. It's pushed by a union that supports him. He could have headed it off. He did nothing. And he's also saying that he supports something like this nationally. He just doesn't want it implemented state by state because he knows that it's just going to drive people out of California. But he's spoken out in favor of a wealth tax across the country. These Democrats have learned nothing. They're just going further and further left. And
yeah, they're just going too far left. I mean, there comes a point where you just go too far left, and it's not a good thing, you know? Becomes a little too cray.
in California, that's why I think we're going to see a big political revolution happen this year.
Wow. All right. We're watching this. Everyone's talking about it. We will watch your work, Steve. Good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Great to be with you.
California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all.
I love how this thumbnail says why YouTube is harder now, why your YouTube views are down and how to fix it. Honestly, just vertical live stream. That's been my solution. Vertical live stream and more short videos. If you have to, use AI to, come up with a script and then, read that script as if it's your show writer, but that's fine. But other than that, man, just make good shorts. They could even just be one-take shorts. I do a lot of one-take shorts because this show is really like an AM radio show in a lot of ways, AOC Democrats ramp up verbal attacks on billionaires. It's the politics of envy. I agree. All these people do is envy, envy, envy. Envy is all they're capable of, man. That's all they do.
You can't earn $1 billion. You can get
She is out of her frickin' mind.
market power. You can break rules. You can do all sorts of things. You can abuse labor laws. You can pay people less than.
People assume that every person who's ever became a billionaire somehow broke laws. I mean, chances are, obviously, a few laws are bound to be broken, but depends on the severity of what the law is, and if they have to pay, they usually pay a fine. Big deal. But either way, man, look, I'm not against billionaires existing. If somebody creates a company and that company is ultimately very successful, that person deserves to reap the benefits of the fruits of their labor. Look, when you start a business, it's not easy. It's very difficult work. Starting this YouTube channel was a great example of difficult work. Just even making it a viewable show has been sometimes more trouble than it's worth, but the incentive is there. The incentive to keep doing the show is there. And that's why I keep doing it, man. As long as there's an incentive. That's all I need. It's all Zeddy wants, all Zeddy needs. All I want. 'Cause all I want is to feel this way. To be this close. Feel the same.
What they're worth. Yep. But you can't earn that, right?
That's right.
And so you have to create a myth that since you didn't earn that, you have to create a myth of earning it.
Okay, Congresswoman
so
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez
bloody
sparking some
insane,
heated
dude.
debates about capitalism after those comments to progressive podcaster Ileana Glazer this week. It's time now to take it to our Sunday group. Dasha Burns, Politico White House Bureau Chief. Mark Thiessen, American Enterprise Institute Resident Fellow. Richard Fowler, Forbes contributing writer, and Josh Kraushaar, editor-in-chief of Jewish Insider. Great to have all of you here today.
Thanks for having us.
So the Congresswoman has continued to give an explanation or rebuttal to her on X saying, listen, they pay people an incredibly low wage. Then these workers have to be on government benefits. So we end up subsidizing what these billionaires are doing. But here's the Washington Post. Mark, as you know, not a super far right, crazy conservative publication. Their editorial board saying this. In what ways does Ocasio-Cortez believe that Taylor Swift, Michael Jordan, Jerry Seinfeld...
Yeah. These are all examples of people who became billionaires. Did all these people break the rules to accumulate their wealth? Maybe. I mean, maybe Michael Jordan, allegedly. But I'm pretty sure the rest of them did what they did. They became billionaires, probably through investments or whatever. So for people like AOC, and AOC is ridiculous, by the way. AOC is ridiculous. Also, I hate that headline, the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. You know, democracy dies to begin with because democracy is a shitty idea. Look, we're a constitutional representative republic. We're not a democracy on the federal level. Stop saying we're a democracy.
Seinfeld, Oprah Winfrey, or Beyonce broke the rules to accumulate their wealth. Who did they take advantage of? Does she think the FBI should investigate Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker or Tom Steyer, the Democrat governor candidate for California governor? What about Democrat mega donor Alex Soros, a big fan of Ocasio-Cortez's?
Oh, snap, dude. Frickin' snap. AOC, dude, I think her political career is pretty much done. AOC is basically a walking joke. Nobody takes AOC seriously at all. Our boy Alex Stein, though, is... he loves AOC, unfortunately. I love you, Alex Stein, though. You're the man.
Yeah, so George Soros started his life working as a railway porter and a waiter in London and earned $1 billion. Is she saying he didn't earn his money honestly? Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty in rural Mississippi. She not only did she earn her money legally, but she...
Yeah, Mr. C says, correct. In fact, our forefathers wrote negatively about pure democracy. Exactly. Which is why I hate it when everybody's like, we're a democracy. No, we're not. We're not a full-on democracy. In fact, we're a partial democracy, if anything. And we're a constitutional representative republic, which means we do vote through a democratic process to get representatives on our behalf. And then those representatives represent our interest at the federal level. And then there is a vote between all of those representatives, but it is a constitutional representative republic. All right? We're not a full-on democracy. I got to make that clear to you guys. I don't know how much more clear I can make it.
She gave away free cars on TV all the time. So, there's a lot of Democratic billionaires out there. What's amazing about America is we're the only country in the world where this could happen, where people can do this. And I think the politics of envy is not going to be successful for the Democratic Party. Democrats lost in 20.
Well, here's the problem. That is the entire ethos of the Democrat Party is envy. Democrats tend to just envy far more than anybody else. That's just the truth. It's the party of envy, man. And in my opinion, it's the philosophy of envy. A lot of people in the Democrat Party, man, they're all about envy. If you are more successful than a Democrat, the Democrats tend to be resentful, right? We're not a democracy. Sorry. On a technical standpoint, we're not. We're not. On a federal level, we're not a democracy. Straight up.
'24 because Joe Biden promised to come in and be a moderate. And instead, the Democratic Party went far left. And after Trump won, they're continuing to double down on socialism. They need a little bit less socialism and a little more triangulation in 1990s centrist Democratic policies.
A la Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Okay, so we...
Big Bill. Allegedly Island Bill.
We know that a lot of the big money did trickle to Democrats in the last election. They had a lot of big superstar names, big billionaires on their ticket. No Opinion, who is a popular econ blogger, he describes himself as center-left liberal. Here's what he says. He says, I'm concerned that the Dems are becoming the party of millionaires who resent billionaires. Quote.
Yep, pretty much. It's basically, like I said, Democrat politics is the politics of envy. It's basically Democrats can't stand that other people are more successful than them. It's called narcissism. And narcissists tend to have extreme levels of jealousy and envy. It's a mental illness, for sure. Why do you think like guys like Bernie Sanders are... You remember how Bernie Sanders used to say, and the millionaires and the billionaires, and then he became a millionaire for selling his book. And then now all he says is the billionaires, the billionaires, the billionaires, the billionaires, the millionaires and the billionaires. You know, I don't know. But no, it's just like dudes like Bernie Sanders piss me off, dude. He's an old-ass socialist. Socialism is just as ancient as Bernie Sanders. You know? Socialism's a shitty idea. Communism sucks, too. They're just terrible in implementation.
I made my millions fair and square, but you cheated and exploited the workers to make your billions, you capitalist pig. Richard?
Listen, I hear that. I do think that, you know, I don't necessarily agree with the Congresswoman.
You know, if people like AOC piss me off because it's like all these Democrats, by the way, in the highest of offices, they have made millions. Look at Nancy Pelosi. And we know how she did it. We're not going to say how she did it, but everybody knows how Nancy Pelosi did it. Wink, wink. I just feel like I would get in trouble if I revealed everything that she did. So I'm just going to say, do your research. Google it. Google it.
But I do think the conversation that the Democratic Party is having is a conversation that the American people are having, right? And it's a conversation that's happening.
B News says socialism is shown to be better than capitalism. How? Every single country that tries to implement socialist principles for the long term ends up being decimated through poverty. Collectivism, like socialism and communism, creates poverty, whereas capitalism creates wealth. And by the way, capitalism pulls more people out of poverty than any other system. If anything, socialism is the love language of being a sloth. I think lazy people like socialism. I really do. I think mentally lazy people, I would say physically lazy. As I've met a lot of socialists who are actually intelligent, but they're so fucking lazy and they love socialism because socialism promotes you to be lazy. The problem is you can't mooch off of the entire collective forever. That is true.
And kitchen tables all across this country. Americans are trying to figure out how to pay their bills. They're looking at their healthcare costs. They're looking at the cost of groceries. They're definitely looking at the cost of gas, and they're trying to figure out how to pay these bills. And how do we pay these bills in a world where these costs continue to go up, and there's no answers coming from Washington, and there's no answers coming from state capitals. So when we have a conversation about billionaires and them paying their fair share, I think a lot of Americans are saying, can they pay the same percentage in taxes that we pay, right? Can they pay the same percentage in tax that a teacher pays or a firefighter pays or a police officer pays? And I think that's what lawmakers are trying to do in many states, whether it's in California, whether it's in Illinois, whether it's in New York, or whether it's in Massachusetts. And in Massachusetts, they've done that, and they've used that money to fund schools. They've used that money to keep hospitals open. They've used that money to fill potholes, and I think the voters there really like that.
Well, Josh, we hear this a lot, that rich people are not paying their fair share. We know, I mean, tax data from the IRS shows us that, you know, the top earners are paying, in some cases, 70% of the taxes in their particular community.
Yeah, look, it's easy politics on both sides to campaign against the rich. But when you look at the results from the 2024 elections, who was Kamala Harris's base? Her main base of support was actually the wealthiest Americans. And it's actually a shift from recent elections. And
Yeah, it's funny. Like, all the rich people were donating to Kamala, but no normal person wanted to vote for Kamala because they knew that she was going to lose. They knew that she was put in there without a real Democratic primary. They were just like, oh, we're going to put Kamala Harris in there. Go figure, right? Oh, Democrats. Eric Klein is saying we need to be socialism heavy. Why? Socialism sucks, dude. By the way, you can have small social programs, but the moment that America becomes fully socialist, that's a problem. Socialism, in my opinion, is like medicine. You only want to take a small amount of it, but you don't want to take the whole bottle, you know? So what I'm trying to say is socialism in some moderation is okay, but you don't, and this is, and the only reason you have social programs is to make it to where people don't stack at zero, right? You don't want people stacking at zero. You just don't. So, no, it's extremely important, right? It's extremely important to have basic social programs as a certain safety net, just in case. I don't know. I feel like I'm on the right track with this, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's keep watching.
Who are backing the socialist candidates running on the far left in a lot of these primaries? Their base of support is generally from the most wealthiest constituents and precincts in the country. So there's a paradox there. AOC's, if you look at her donors, a lot of multimillionaires, a lot of big moneyed supporters. So yeah, there is sort of this millionaire versus billionaire dynamic, but the Democratic Party has become more of a party of the wealthy over the last decade, and that's made it harder for these critiques against the wealthy and the affluent to really stick. They actually are proposing a lot of cultural policies that are out of touch with working class Americans. It's made it harder for them to win over average Americans.
Dasha.
Well, working class Americans know that Democrats are full of crap. Why do you think working class Americans don't vote Democrats? Because the only policies that Democrats seem to care about are like really weird policies that nobody really truly gives a shit about except for like maybe 2% of the population. And the Democrats don't represent most people. When I was younger, I used to vote Democrat. I used to vote Democrat because I was an idiot. I was stupid. I was young and dumb. I wised up. I got older. And I realized, I was like, well, this is the best way to do it. That was when I was young. I was like 18, 19, 20, 21. I don't remember when I registered Democrat, but that was when I was like really young. So why the hell do you think a democratic socialist government would be better than a socialist government? They're both shit. Democratic socialism is taking two bad ideas, one democracy, which is a crappy idea. And even like, let's say, even if democracy was a good idea, why would you taint a good idea with a bad idea? Right? Like, by the way, they're both really crappy ideas. Spoiler alert. Full-on democracy, stupid. Full-on socialism, stupid. If you combine the two of those, you're a freaking moron. I really believe that. I think you're stupid as hell. I think you're dumb as hell. I really do. If you combine those two together, democratic socialism is the dumbest idea of all time. Straight up. But thank you guys for subscribing, though. I really do appreciate all the subscribers. It's amazing, dude. Amazing. I'm going to see if we got any new members today. Hell yeah.
I think your point is exactly the problem that Democrats are trying to fix right now. They lost the working class over the last decade. Trump the billionaire tapped into the working class. And
yeah, it's because the billionaire was actually, because first off, Trump, it's the irony is that Trump at one point was fully bankrupt. And then all of a sudden, bam, he did all the right moves. He made all the right changes. And then he became a billionaire. He became a real estate mogul, whatever the proper term is. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Crazy, man.
Democrats are starting to reckon with, okay, we need to address economic frustration. What they haven't figured out is the remedy and the rhetoric. Something like what AOC just said runs the risk of making people feel like the Democratic Party is more focused on punishing success instead of expanding economic opportunity. And that's something that Republicans have done a good job of pointing the finger at Democrats for doing. At the same
Small
time,
wiener
AOC,
gang.
Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, they have.
Hey, thank you so much, Robert Makata, for subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it, Brony. We're currently sitting pretty at 10,531 subs. Hey, if you guys can, tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. Really does help the channel grow. More subs, the better. If you guys love Trump as much as I do, tap that subscribe button. If you guys want a little JD Vance 2028, tap the subscribe button. Let's keep going, man.
Been able to tap into something that does pull well across ideological lines, which is frustration with the concentration of wealth among the few. So there's an opportunity there, but also a challenge in how it's executed.
Okay, I want each of you to give us the story you're watching the week ahead rather briskly. If you could do that, we'll start with you, Dasha.
I'll be brisk on maybe the most complicated topic of all time, which is AI. I'm watching very closely how the White House handles to regulate or not to regulate AI. Last week, there was some...
I don't know. Should you have regulations on AI? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's a good idea, or do you guys think that might just be a bad idea? Because I don't know. I don't think we need any regulations personally on AI, but who knows? I very well could be wrong on that. I think I'm right, but I very well could be wrong. Just saying. Just saying.
Reporting that they were planning to do vetting of AI models, the government vetting that before it went out to the public. And then the White House very quickly tried to distance itself from that idea. Susie Wiles even putting out a post supporting AI innovation. It's going to be really complicated.
Look, here's the thing. The genie's out of the bottle with AI. So here's the thing. Is America going to be the leader in AI? Yes, we should be. And I want every single tech company that's big or small that has the ability to develop AI and improve upon it. I say go for it, man. I say go for it. You know what AI is really good for? Is like, let's say you're a company and you develop software. That AI can look for any vulnerabilities in your source code, for example, right? It can see the things that maybe everybody else missed, if that makes sense. No, I think that the reach that you give AI, you do need to limit that reach. I do believe that. I don't believe you should give AI like unlimited reach. I think that's a bad idea. You're talking to a guy who loves AI, by the way. I'm an AI guy. I love AI. I think it's fabulous. And, give me a second here. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. There was something I forgot to look up. Hold on, you guys. Just give me a few seconds, okay? Oh, that's right. It's not Monday yet. Got it. Words as weapons, sharper than knives, makes you wonder how the other half died. Bam, 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 down, down, down. Okay. All right. Now, it's actually, I had ChatGPT rank the best BDCs out there. And to be honest, it gave me a pretty interesting list, man. Give me a few seconds. So yeah, it looks like I have a lot of these BDCs already that it's listing. Yep, I do got a lot of them.
And extremely important to see how they navigate the line of regulation versus accelerating AI growth.
It is a tricky question. Josh, what have we got?
Big week in the world of politics. Trump's test of dominating the Republican Party. He ousted 5 of the 7 Republican state senators in Indiana. Another big test coming this upcoming Saturday. Bill Cassidy on the ballot in a Republican primary in Louisiana. President Trump has endorsed Julia Letlow, the congresswoman. There's also a third candidate on the ballot. Cassidy could survive possibly, but I think the polls are suggesting he could be the latest victim who's drawn Trump's ire and loses another Republican primary.
All right, Richard and Mark, even more briskly.
So one of the biggest inputs for America's farmers is fertilizer. Right now, the cost of fertilizer has jumped considerably. 60% of America's farmers are worried about these costs, and the main inputs for fertilizer comes from the Straits of Hormuz, and these costs are wild. I mean, in some places, we're talking about it's going from $139 an acre to $217 an acre.
That is pretty wild. Especially if they're getting a lot of their fertilizer from the Strait of Hormuz, that is a big deal. That does need to be addressed. I can agree with that completely. I do believe that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be fully reopened. That needs to happen. The blockade itself, I think that, here's the thing. The blockade should allow everybody else through except for the Iranian tankers. If any Iranian tankers try to inch their way through, they will get punished. Simple as that.
That's going to have a direct impact on food prices in the next coming months.
So, Reform Party in England swept the local and regional elections in what was a referendum on Keir Starmer. I guess the British people agree with Donald Trump that he's no Winston Churchill. And so now the question is, does Keir Starmer stay as Prime Minister? How long? Is he going to be done in the next few weeks? And does Nigel Farage become the next Prime Minister?
All right, great topics. We'll watch them all this week. Panel, thank you very much. We'll see you next Sunday.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Heck yeah, brother. So, GOP lawmaker says we can never trust Iran. Let's take a listen.
Joining us is Chair of House Foreign Affairs, Brian Mast. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your service to our country. What do you think these negotiations are about, Chairman? And even if Iran were to reach some agreement with us, how would we ever be able to trust them?
Let's start at the end of it. One,
honestly, you can't trust Iran.
We can never trust them because that's something that has been totally eroded for the last 47 years. And so number two, what is it that they want? They don't have
I just don't believe it's possible to trust Iran in a lot of these circumstances. I just don't. They've proven to be extremely untrustworthy. And
choice but to be at the table because they're a country that has been on life support already economically. Then we degraded their missile systems, their proxy programs, their nuclear capabilities, their drone programs. We degraded all of that very, very heavily. And now with the economic pressure that President Trump is putting on them with the blockade, it's like putting a pillow over the face of somebody that's already on life support. They don't have a choice but to be at the table, but they're acting in reluctance.
It's a pretty dark analogy, but it's just because it's a dark analogy doesn't mean it ain't any more true. You know, I mean, this is insane.
Response shows you that. Why? Because the response was basically this: United States of America, give up everything that you're doing, and maybe we will go out there and water down some of our enriched uranium. That was essentially the response.
Crazy.
All right, Chairman, I don't know that I know anyone in my life that knows the cost and consequences of war like Brian Mast. Here's the Energy Secretary, and then I'll bring it home on the other side.
You're saying that President Trump would be open to suspending the federal gas tax?
We're open to all ideas. Everything has trade-offs, all ideas to lower prices for American consumers and American businesses.
Your state is beautiful. It relies on tourism, as do many. What can we expect to give some relief to our fellow Americans? Is there something being conjured that can maybe give them some relief, particularly when it comes to gas prices?
You just gave one example. In my opinion, it shouldn't just be a suspension. This should be permanent. I know people complain about the Highway Trust Fund, which is still a tax, but suspend the 18.3 cents per gallon fuel tax, the 24.3 cents per gallon diesel tax, suspend the excise tax on big rigs and tires that other companies have to pay. We're Republicans. We should be taking every opportunity to.
Hold on, you guys. I gotta do something real quick. Give me a second. This may take a few more moments. Interesting. Sorry about that. I had to check something real quick. All right, let's continue.
To take taxes off people. That's what I'm about. So that's something that you can see us working on. I think you also see Russia come into play to this. Obviously the president's headed to China. Those will be conversations related to energy. Russian energy is on the table. Where China is getting their energy, certainly on the table. Those are big conversations forthcoming this week also.
All right, Chairman, you were prescient. I was going to ask you about Russia. Vladimir Putin said the war in Ukraine may be winding down. He's another guy that you really can't rely on for the truth. But how do you see the war in Eastern Europe unfolding?
So I see obviously a lot of attention diverted to everything going on in Iran, which benefits Vladimir Putin. Now, the situation that we see Putin in right now, they just had a Russian holiday in which Putin had to go.
Yep, Garza of Borg, bro. I am now a Borg. I was a Borg. This is what, see, I'm about ready to get assimilated, everybody. Check it out. Look at this. I'm about ready to get it. Oh, I'm assimilated now. I'm back.
go to Zelensky and essentially say, can you please not attack us during this holiday? We can't stop. You know that you can reach in here and attack us. Can you please not do it? And then they produced basically one of the most lackluster parades and holidays that Russia could produce. So I think they actually come out of it. I assess that they come out of it wanting to show a level of strength, which is not good for this war. President Trump, bring him into this. He always goes the extra mile to try and bring diplomacy to the table. I think he's going to take the 3-day window of diplomacy and say, hey, let's work to expand that. Even though Putin, we know you always come back and want to attack things. Let's try to expand this. I think he'll take that window to try and do it. But again, like you pointed out, we're never hopeful with Vladimir Putin because he just proves over and over again.
Well, I don't trust Putin. I don't think anybody should, to be honest. I don't think Putin is trustworthy in any way, shape, or form. I mean, do you guys trust Vladimir? Do any of you guys trust Putin? You know, you think that Zelensky and Putin would both kind of maybe try to share the fact that they both have the same first name. They're both Vladimir, you know? Vladimir Zelensky, Vladimir Putin, I believe those are their first names, right?
Again, that he can't be trusted. He's lying about everything. He's always trying to drag things out, and he always comes back with an offensive against Ukraine.
All right, before I let you go, the president's going to China. Let's assume Brian Mast is sitting with him.
Oh, shit.
What would you say, hey, make sure we hit this?
The parade of activities that China has been doing to lead the United States of America and China into the Cold War that we have going on.
You have no other
choice.
choice.
Their espionage parade, what they're doing in our systems of education, what they're doing with balloons going over the United States of America, the way that they've supported Iran, other adversaries, worked in our backyard with Venezuela and Cuba in our backyard directly against the United States of America. The list goes on of the parade of things that they do to lead us into this Cold War. The president's always seeking cooperation first, so I think he's going to look for the places that we have cooperation, places that we can work together.
Trump tries
but again,
to cooperate.
We have a partner that's proven they can't be trusted because they'll steal anything that they can from us.
True.
They'll copy it, then they'll sell it to the rest of the world at a cheaper price and try to destroy our markets. And that's the most significant kind of warfare that they continually wage against us.
But this is why China, in the long term, is going to destabilize, because the problem is they are in my opinion, they pretty much have kind of a dictatorship to some degree. It feels like it. Hell, it seems like it more than anything.
Chairman Brian Mast from the great state of Florida. Happy Mother's Day to the moms in your family and your life. And once again, thank you for your service to our country.
Great to see you, Trey.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Heck yeah, brony. You're a pink brony bro. And we dance at the gear club. Oh, the hantavirus.
Passengers are heading home today from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship, now anchored off Tenerife in Spain's Canary Islands. Officials say none of the nearly 150 people on the MV Hondias are showing symptoms of the virus, which has killed 3 people. But teams from the CDC are on site to meet these disembarked Americans, and they're also expected to usher them to Nebraska's National Quarantine Unit. But that,
hey, as long as they get them to a quarantine area, that's the thing, man. These people are going to need to be quarantined for I don't know how long. I mean, hey, at least they figured that out early. You know, that's a good thing. Hopefully the world ends up okay after this. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a big deal. Let's hope this doesn't turn into another COVID situation.
that is reportedly not being required. For more, let's bring in the acting director of the Department of Epidemic and Pandemic Threat Management at the World Health Organization, Maria Van Kerkhove. Thank you so much, Maria, for being with us. Really appreciate it this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
So we have seen these videos of protests in Tenerife. People are fearful about a deadly disease coming to their shores. The head of the World Health Organization posted a long letter to X trying to quell concerns, writing, Spain's authorities have prepared a careful step-by-step plan. Passengers will be ferried ashore at the industrial port of Granadilla, far from residential areas, in sealed, guarded vehicles through a completely cordoned off corridor and repatriated directly to their home countries. You will not encounter them. Your families will not encounter them. But how many countries are these passengers going to? And how confident are you that the virus is not going to spread once they're back in their homes?
So thanks very much for doing this update. And indeed, our Director General is actually on the ground right now overseeing the operations. And it is a careful step-by-step operation of moving the passengers and the crew from the ship to shore through buses in a cordoned-off way to repatriation flights. We currently have 23 countries that have nationalities on board, either through passengers or crew. Right now, we're working with the Spanish authorities from the Netherlands, and these countries on the repatriation flights. The flight started this morning, or the operation started this morning at 7:30 local
Hey, thank you, Eric. Love you, bro. You're the man, bro. You're the man now, dog.
time, and will continue to about 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight, and then continue tomorrow. And so far, we have flights that have gone to Spain, to France, to Canada, and the Netherlands in progress. I'm checking my notes because this is almost in real time. And we have flights planned today for Ireland, Turkey, UK, Ireland, and the U.S. That might change, so please bear with us as operations on the ground. It's in a live situation, but this is a very different virus than COVID. It's not COVID. The passengers and the crew on board will be wearing respirators as they leave. There's a medical assessment that is being done on board before they disembark from the ship. They will be transported separately and directly to these repatriation flights. These are not commercial flights where they will go back to their home countries, and they will have an active follow-up period once they reach their home countries.
So let's talk about that piece
Crazy,
for a moment, because the repatriated Americans are going to Nebraska. It is home to the only federally funded quarantine facility in the United States. But according to ABC News, it does not sound like U.S. officials are going to require any use of that center there. They're telling reporters this on a call, according to ABC. We're not quarantining anybody, a CDC official told reporters on a call Saturday. When asked if passengers will be tested, a CDC official said it is not recommended to test people that do not have symptoms. Is this the plan that U.S. health officials have communicated to the World Health Organization? Have they told you this is what's going to happen? And is this consistent with recommendations that you guys have?
Well, yes. I mean, let me tell you what our recommendations are. And what I do want to point out is that we are working with CDC officials, and we're working with many different countries that are actually involved in this, requiring a multi-country response because we want to make sure that we prevent any further spread.
Yeah.
Our recommendations are, we're considering everyone on board, the crew and the passengers, as high-risk contacts because there are current investigations that are really trying to understand what types of exposures each of them had. And because there's so much uncertainty at the moment, we've recommended that everybody be considered a high-risk contact. Our recommendations are that everyone who goes back to their home country is followed up with active follow-up for 42 days. This would include checks, health checks by authorities, and either be quarantined at home or quarantined in a medical facility.
Okay, so this report goes on to say that the CDC is sending passengers home to monitor from there. It's unclear from what we're trying to gather if that transportation would be private. It sounds like that is a concern, obviously, for spread. But in the meantime, President Trump was asked if, given all of this, the U.S. is reconsidering rejoining the World Health Organization. Here's what he told reporters.
You travel to Moscow, Mr. President. Consider leaving the World Health Organization because of the outbreak of Hantavirus.
No, we seem to have things under. Yum. Oh, thank you, Mr. C, for the floating heart for 10 jewels. Appreciate it. Gotta give him a love, dude. I gotta give you a floating heart, man. Thank you for the gift, brother. I appreciate the gift. Hell yeah. Everybody give a shout out to my boy, Mr. C.
A very good control. They know that virus very well. It's been around a long time. Not easily transferable, unlike COVID. But we'll see. We're studying it very closely. We have very good people studying it very closely.
So An NBC report raises the concern that potentially not being a member state would result in a delay of advanced data that would typically go to member states. That same report does note that the World Health Organization is working, hand in glove with U.S. officials. But what can you say about whether there is any delay in exchanging information, and is the U.S. at all at risk of not getting it early enough?
Well, we do hope that the U.S. does reconsider and remain as a member state of the World Health Organization, because the viruses that we deal with, hantavirus included, they don't respect borders, they don't care about our politics, and information saves lives. So what we do through using the international health regulations is share information immediately once we know about it. And that's what happened in this case. We learned about these first cases. We learned about the link with the cruise ship. There's an incredible amount of expertise coming together, particularly dealing with the Andes virus, which is one of the hantaviruses associated in this case here. We're actually working with Argentina and Chile, as well as the U.S. and many European countries to share that information. And I think this is what is really important about what we call multilateralism, which just means we all work together, because we need the best minds together, including the best minds from the U.S. CDC, to work with us to tackle these challenging problems. Sometimes there could be a delay in information that's shared, but I do also want to say, while I have the floor here, is that the University of Nebraska, this center that you mentioned, is a
Small Wiener
member
Gang.
of the Global Outbreak Alert and
Hey, thank you so much, Oijia Cheng. I appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. One more time, give it up for Oijia Cheng. Thank you so much. Appreciate the subscribe, and more subscribers we get, the better, so it does help the channel grow a lot, so I do really appreciate it, man. Eric Klein is saying, Snow Patrol, if I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Is that what you want, Eric? No, it's a good song, man. It's a good song.
response system. This is the WHO network that has been in operation for more than 25 years, and it's actually been a GOAR member since 2018. So we will continue to work with everyone everywhere, because our goal is to keep people safe. That includes everyone everywhere, including Americans.
Just to clarify, you say there could be a delay, but is the World Health Organization giving information, in real time to the United States, even while they're not?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. That was the answer I was
Yes,
looking for.
absolutely. So we,
Mr. C
as
says,
our goal
asks, are we
is to share
tired of dooming
information
boomers
that saves
zoomers?
lives. We're doing regular risk assessments, and we're sharing that information in real time so that countries can update what they actually want to do.
Wait, so are we? I think the U.S. is currently a part of the World Health Organization, right? So I'm a little confused. Is there a rumor that we're leaving it? Why would we leave it? It sounds pretty important to be part of it, I would be surprised.
We make recommendations, and governments decide what they want to do in terms of policies. So that information is being shared through the international health regulations. The United States still participates in that, which is really critical, again, to tackle the problems that we have, put the risk in context. And I do want to say here, I know there's a lot of news about this and people may be scared, but this is not COVID. It's a very, very different virus. The risk to the general public, the risk to Americans is very low. Everyone who is traveling back from the ship will be done in repatriated planes, so not commercial airlines. Okay. And it's very, very carefully choreographed, and WHO is coordinating this with officials in the field.
I'm sure you guys have a lot of people on this, because a lot of folks are, rightly worried. And remember, just a few years ago, everything we were dealing with. I don't think anyone wants to bring back masks anytime soon. So Maria Van Kerkhove, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, this person says all-time record silver price surge incoming. Buy silver now before it hits. Okay. All right. Nah, that's not bad, man. Hey, look, that's good for me because, you guys know me. I'm a swing trader of, I swing trade silver and gold and stuff like that. So, hey, if silver and gold go up on a bull run, man, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that at all. Oh, this is interesting. So, Angela Rose is saying exposing Ilhan Omar cost me that. I'm gonna.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's net worth once surged 3,500% in 1 year, up to $35 million. In the last few months, it has dropped significantly to $18,000 to $95,000. Meanwhile, she is refusing to testify as to why she created the Meals Act of 2020 and refusing to provide documentation as to how they could have tens of millions of dollars in expenses for non-existent businesses. So in this video, I am going to teach Ilhan Omar how to create a simple profit and loss statement using the videos that I have made to expose Ilhan Omar. So you are about to find out how much money I have made or lost in YouTube, and you're also going to find out how much a Santa Rosa winery operating out of a Custom Crush or a consulting firm operating out of a WeWork place in DC has in expenses. Make sure you are subscribed. Ilhan Omar's.
This is great, man. This is fantastic. I think, hearing people like, this Angela Rose girl, she's pretty cool. I think she's got some good takes. She's very much like the, I guess you could call her the female version of Nick Shirley. They're both independent investigative journalists. They're calling out all the woke garbage that's happening, all the fraudulent garbage. And good job kudos to Angela Rose, kudos to Nick Shirley. Both are incredible at what they do. I love both of them. Amazing.
His current plan, instead of providing documentation or testifying, is to simply call the people investigating her racist.
So nothing is even remotely close to the narrative that they have about Somalis.
I don't trust you, Miss Omar.
Our origins on how.
Or Mrs. Omar. Mrs. Omar, I don't trust you on this.
How we got here, or even our numbers, which is always fascinating to me.
So it's more straight racism than anything personal.
It really truly is, yeah. So they learned the hard way.
You are going to find out exactly how much money.
But yeah, this shit's wild, man. Let's keep watching.
I spent exposing Ilhan Omar, and if I made a profit or a loss in doing so. First, we have to talk about the irony of her calling people investigating her racist, because she recently went on The Breakfast Club, and this is an all-black show. Both of the hosts were black,
Yep.
and they do not.
No, very true. Angela Rose got a point, man. Absolutely, bro. Vacation time is, yeah, dude. Angela Rose and Nick Shirley, dude. They both do the same thing. Yeah, that's a match made in heaven right there. Get it?
Not buy her story one bit. Meanwhile, you have white Democrats who voted against the subpoena, even though they are a part of the fraud prevention oversight. And the reason why they protect her is because they are also corrupt socialists, a part of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. So you have black people calling her out and white people protecting her, and yet she's still trying to pull the race card. I would argue that this
It's crazy. This is wild, man. It blows my mind sometimes, man. Some of this just blows my mind.
is reverse racism, that she's able to get away with so much because of her religion. Even this guy, Dave Pinto, claims that he cares so much about fraud. So why did he vote against a subpoena for Ilhan Omar?
Is that any
Yeah, that is kind of confusing.
dollar that is going to fraud is $1 too many.
Any dollar going to fraud is a dollar too many. But what about 30 million? What about 250 million? What about 9 billion then? Dave, would you care then?
Remember that on the other side of this are vulnerable people, people in need of services, support for their housing, people experience.
Is Ilhan Omar one of those vulnerable people that you feel the need to protect, Dave?
My boy Ty Lord says allergies kick him. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. You doing all right? I mean, at least overall, I mean, you feel like you're at least okay? Well, I was hoping you were doing all right, man. Besides the allergies, I hope you're at least feeling somewhat all right, you know.
Ilhan is a woman who yells and cusses at reporters when they ask her about her winery, even though it would be an incredible.
And honestly, they should be asking about that. They should be. Especially if there's some sketchy stuff about it, you know what I mean?
Opportunity to market it and share her brand with the world so that they could make more money. But instead, she's hiding, she's refusing to show up, and she's pushing the elevator button frantically to try to escape situations.
We have reached out to Representative Ilhan Omar on multiple occasions, inviting her to testify and inviting and requesting documents that appeared in the trial exhibit of the U.S. versus Amy Bach. As everyone knows, Representative Omar had some role, whether inadvertent or not. She passed the Meals Act in March of 2020, and that took the guardrails off the federal school nutrition program, which created the conditions for feeding our future.
That's right. Ilhan Omar created the conditions for feeding our future. And meanwhile, she claims.
That's wild, dude. So it makes you wonder how much of an involvement she allegedly has with everything that's going on in that specific community. So I don't know, man. I don't trust Mrs. Omar. I don't trust Mr. Walls. I don't trust either of these guys. I don't. I just don't. What can I say? I don't. I think you guys know I'm right.
Claims that the money that she made came from her husband's consulting firm or from his winery. A winery which had a lawsuit that says they fraudulently misrepresented that E Street Crew LLC was a legitimate company. So where did the money come from? It's interesting now she's...
Ty Lord is saying, hey, Annie, and how are you all doing? Well, doing pretty good, man. Just racking up more subscribers, getting a few gifts, a few super chats, stuff like that. More subscribers, the better. You know, we're really trying to keep, pushing our limit, pushing it to the limit. But yeah, we're trying to get at least, we're always trying to get at least 50 subscribers per stream. It's a little bit tough these days because I haven't been promoting subscribers as much. Now I'm starting to promote it again a little bit. I have it in the poll, and yeah, just trying to get more people to subscribe. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, please tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. It does help us out. We're a little smaller. We're big. We're pretty big, actually. We're at 10,531 subs, but more subs, more rubs. Just kidding. JK. But we do want to get more subscribers, though, so please feel free to tap that subscribe button.
Saying that she doesn't have any money at all. Now that people are exposing her Generation Hope clinic or how she was sending money to
Generation Hope, by the way. The Generation Hope Clinic. Let that sink in, everybody. Tomorrow's teachings and Generation Hope. Oh my God.
to another clinic that her sister operated. We're witnessing two
I wonder if there's a Darman clinic and a Tomorrow's Teachings clinic next to the Generation Hope clinic. I just wonder.
worlds collide because she's refusing to talk about her involvement in this $250 million scam, and at the same time, they are refusing to provide the documents for their multi-million-dollar businesses. How easy would it be nowadays, where everything is electronic, to provide communications and documents relating to these two businesses, to show the filings and the communications, or to simply explain what business they have in the UAE, Somalia, Kenya, and the travel taken to those places? And how can they subtract the travel to those places when they were $10,000 flights gifted to them by their so-called client that is currently hiding over $500 million from U.S. lenders?
Wild.
It is about time for you to find out how much money I made on YouTube traveling to expose Ilhan Omar, trying to run a real business, do real marketing. Meanwhile, this woman appears and seems to have making millions of dollars off of American taxpayers, but then she says that she doesn't owe us jack shit. Well, I want her to see how easy
I love what she's trying to do, dude. I love it, man. I love it. I'm all about it, bro.
it is to provide receipts and documents about business travel.
Giving them the explanation. Do you want to tell our viewers? Because I don't want to tell you jack shit. How about that? Okay.
I've given you the explanation. How about you put the money back into the government so it can go to filling potholes, please? So just to be clear, what we are about to do is show that it is basically impossible to go from $30 million down to $95,000 with the businesses that she claims to have been operating, even though we see where the money was coming from.
Unless they're just operated like poorly, which is very possible, by the way. Keep that in mind, man. Democrats are the party of incompetence, and it's crazy. Gift yum yum. Gift yum yum. Oh, I heard a gift yum yum. I heard a gift yum yum. Gift yum yum. Who sent gift yum yum. Gift yum yum. Coyote just sent a 100 for 2 jewels and a star for 2 jewels. Thank you so much, Mr. C. I appreciate you, bro. Everybody
Gift
give your
yum
love
yum.
to Mr.
Gift
C,
yum
man.
yum.
Thank you, Mr. C. I appreciate you, brony. My baronies, my baronies.
Gift yum yum. Gift
Gift
yum
yum yum. Oh, and Mr. C also sent sparkles. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for sending gifts, by the way. Anybody who wants their own shout out, man, just send sparkles, stars, 100s. The more gifts we get, the better, man. Wait, I said spam it. What, did I say spam it? I try not. What? I don't think I did. Maybe I misspoke. I think I might have misspoke, bro. But yeah, feel free to send as many gifts as you want, though. Whatever virtual gifts you guys want to send, we greatly appreciate them, man. Whether it's sparkles, whether it's stars, whether it's 100s. It interrupts the show, which is really cool, too, which is one of the reasons why I do it. It's funny. So anybody who wants to send me gifts, man, we greatly appreciate it. So tap that gift button and send any type of gift you want, whether it's small, whether it's big, totally your call. And I appreciate it, but BRB, I got to stir the chicken.
Gift yum yum. 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 Gift yum yum.
right. Okay, let's do this. Let's keep going.
Here's an example of people campaigning for Ilhan Omar at the Safari restaurant that was involved in the Feeding Our Future scam.
Safari restaurant used to operate, but they are now closed down because during the 2019 COVID pandemic, they were involved in the Feeding Our Future fraud.
Millions of dollars going through a place that Ilhan Omar has a connection to, or like this health clinic that was ran by her sister. And I guess Ilhan was celebrating that she gave them $2 million. What a nice thing for her to do for herself. At some point, doesn't it seem like it would have been easier for...
I mean, it seems like she's just lying. Not Angela Rose. I'm talking about Mrs. Omar. I just feel like she's like, hey, Coyote, Mr. Coyote 3, thank you for the high five for 100 joules. Appreciate it. High five. I appreciate that. So everybody give a shout out to my boy, Mr. C, for the high five for 100 joules, for the 100 for 2 joules, the stars. I appreciate all these, man. Thank you. Big shout out to my homie, dude. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that big time. Amazing. Truly amazing. But no, once again, man, I want to thank you for those for the jewels, for the gifts. I really appreciate it big time, man.
Ilhan to simply create real businesses. Let's show Ilhan how to be transparent. So one video I created was investigating America's shadiest winery, where I traveled to Santa Rosa. That video on YouTube got 256,000 views. Now, the only way that I have made money from these videos is from YouTube ad revenue. Yes, people share it on X, and that helps with exposure and attention to the situation, yet it doesn't directly translate into money. So the amount of money that I netted from this video was $1,121.
That's not bad at all, though. Still not bad, though. $1,000? Hell yeah. Heck yeah, Brony. That's pretty pimp to me. $1,000, bro? Hell yeah. Heck yeah, bro.
It was so exciting to see pages like Wall Street Apes share this video, and it is continuing to get traction as people are wondering if they're located out of Custom Crush and their mailing address is at this post office. How then are they going to have tens of millions of dollars in expenses? Well, thankfully, now more than ever, it is so easy to keep track of these expenses by looking at your bank statement or going through your email, looking up the city that you flew to, and finding how much everything costs.
Hell yeah.
So I stayed at the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, and that was $100.
Okay, that was a little cringy, but all right, I'll give her props on that. I do cringier stuff, but I'll okay.
$53. I got a rental car to drive there, and that was $109. I paid $17 for a toll that I did not know I was on. The flight there was $249. The flight home was $300. These were so expensive because I basically bought them for the next day, and you're going to see that my flights are pretty expensive because that tends to happen when something begins to trend. You got to act quick and basically buy tickets for the next day. And so my total expenses for this video were really high, $832. Fortunately, when I was in Santa Rosa, I was
$832 for the total of the making of that video. And she was able to profit though. Profit's profit. That's the way I look at it. If you can if you can make a profit off of the videos that you're doing or the streams, like I make profits off of the gifts and super chats when I do these reaction streams and stuff. So that's really cool. But no, that's amazing. I'm glad. I honestly, good for her, man. Seriously, it's amazing. Let's keep going, man.
Also able to make a video about the Bohemian Grove and Gavin Newsom's winery, so that helped make some of the money back, because just for this video, I would have only profited $289. Of course, traveling, it's a lot of time of work, so it really wasn't spectacular, but that's a 25.8% profit margin. The next travel video that I made was to Washington, D.C. to visit their consulting firm. This video on YouTube got 233,000 views. Now, the RPM, which is how much money YouTubers make per 1,000 views, must have been pretty low on this video, because the estimated revenue is $883.
That's bound to fluctuate. That does happen. It's true. It is bound to fluctuate. ET says, Garza, what's up? I like the stream. Hell yeah, dude. Love you, bro. We love you, ET. Mr. C's asking a good question. I don't have the good answer to that, man. But if anybody in the chat is enlightened enough to know, please answer Mr. C's question. Oh, yeah, let me give a shout-out to your boy. It's my boy, too. Big shout-out to Mike. Big shout-out to Mike. And I think the last name is Ox Long. Mike. Hey, Michael Oxlong, thank you so much. Let's give a shout-out to Michael Oxlong, everybody. We love you, Michael Oxlong. You're the man.
So the video in DC got $3.79 per 1,000 views, but the winery got $4.37. I noticed that videos made in California tend to make more money per 1,000 views. Let's go through my cost on this video, because again, it is so easy to show how you would have expenses. So if Ilhan Omar actually had $39.9 million in expenses, they would probably have very expensive real estate, but instead they've been operating out of co-work places. We're going to get to actually how much it costs to run the businesses that she claims had such high expenses. Anyways, to create that video in DC, I spent $485 on a flight, and then I returned home the same day for $279, and I just Ubered. I didn't rent a car. So my total expenses were $865. That means that I only profited $18.51.
Damn, dude.
So I only made...
Those are pretty expensive, man. She needs to figure out like ways to not have to spend as much money on these trips. That's the thing, man. She's got to find a way to make spend less. I don't know how she would do it, but those are pretty expensive trips, man. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. I mean, granted, Nick Shirley is way bigger than she is, but she's on the rise. And granted, I like Angela Rose. I like her attitude. I like the fact that she's exposing all the craziness. So, yeah, I dig it.
Made a 2.1% profit margin. I am exposing Ilhan Omar for free, doing more than people who are paid in the FBI to do the same exact thing. But who are we kidding? It was a lot of fun to be able to travel all the way to DC. And also the other cool thing about this is it has helped gain momentum, so that the most recent Ilhan Omar expose video that we did got 618,000 views on
618,000 views on YouTube?
YouTube. That was when we went to Minneapolis,
That's
a
really
restaurant that Ilhan Omar tried to send.
No, that's honestly incredible, man. Holy crap. Wow. Mr. C says, I do feel like she could do better. Yeah, I mean, she's clearly improving. I mean, she's got her own style. You know, she's definitely she's definitely the Kmart version of Nick Shirley, that's for sure. But granted, that's not even a slight to her. She actually does a really good job. Mr. C says she is developing a reputation which you should never sell. What do you mean by that? I'm a little confused by that statement. What do you mean that she's developing a reputation in which you should never sell? I'm just confused by that. I just don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean, essentially?
and $1.4 million, claiming that it was a substance abuse clinic, even though it doesn't sound like they ever operated out of there. So you're asking me, Angela, how easy is it to be transparent about your profit margins? How easy is it to not insult people if they ask you about it on the streets?
Yeah.
Because it should not be something this complicated. This video made $3,023.
There we go, man. Well earned. $3,023. Whoa. That's a lot of ad revenue. Dude, maybe I should start doing some more long-form videos. Maybe some like long-form reviews on products or something. Just anything, really. I'm starting to believe I need to.
$75. So that video made $4.90 per 1,000 views, which is pretty awesome, right? And so many of you guys wonder, how do I speak so confident?
Well, I mean, like, how is she selling out, though? Mr. C, I'm just curious, how is she selling out? I'm asking this genuinely. Because, sure, she's making money on this. Granted, there's nothing wrong with making money on this. As long as she is being authentically herself, she would be here's the thing. If she's being authentically herself, then she's not a sellout. But, however, if her views are being dictated by somebody else for money, that's a problem. Now, I don't know. I think Angela Rose, I think she's doing the right thing. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with what she's doing. I don't think she's bought and sold as far as I know. She's making money on this stuff for sure, but she's making money doing the type of investigative journalism that she wants to do. So, I mean, all things considered, I mean, it seems pretty fair to me, at least.
Under such intense situations and on very complex issues. Well, if you're somebody who wants to improve your speech, then I have a free vocal warm-up video that I want to send you, and you can get that by scanning the QR code that is up on the screen right now. Insert your email and I will send you that video to your email. Let's get on with this video. I was so excited that this also gained traction during a very complex time where everybody was talking about Ilhan Omar. It kind of goes in waves, but people are continuously talking about this because we are so confused as to why the fraud is so blatant and nothing is being done, even though there is an entire task force that was created.
Hey, I still like doing it. Guy, all right? I'm a Trump guy. I think Trump's the man. What can I say? But yeah, I'm totally a Trump guy, man. Through and through. I like Trump. I don't think he's that bad, man. $38 viewers, Garza, maybe try a cooking channel. Yeah, this is a cooking channel. This is a cooking channel because I'm roasting all of you guys with facts. Facts, baby.
Created to stop this fraud, and it is being ran by the vice president. So you cannot tell me, please, that these three insane Democrats have more power than the vice president. Donald Trump has been calling her out for marrying her brother for years.
I love it.
I believe she married.
That is crazy. And the fact of the matter is, Democrats have been way too accepting of that. The Democrats have been way, I don't know why they're more. If this was anybody else, people would have ran her out of office already. Like straight up.
Her brother, which is totally illegal. Although it's a lovely couple, actually, but it's a little bit on the illegal side.
Dude, Trump is the GOAT, dude. Can I just say that Trump is the GOAT? Trump is the man. How's it over, bro? It's just started. Hey, dude, it's not over. It's just beginning, bro. It's just beginning. It's not over. It's not over. You gotta do it right this time around. It's not over, yeah. But a part of me is dead and in the ground.
Darling, I love you very much. Good night, brother. Let's go to bed. Good night.
The problem for this
Dude, Trump's the GOAT, dude. Trump is the man. Let's just all face it. Trump's the man.
woman is that the fraud is one thing, but the way that she has spoken down on America and Americans makes it feel so personal to everybody that we are not going to stop until something is done. So I have calculated how much the expenses are estimated to be for both of Ilhan Omar's companies and how $29.9 million of
Mr. C says, we elected him on his promises. He succeeds and fails sometimes. No, he's succeeded. Dude, Trump has absolutely succeeded. Are you kidding me? He's epically succeeded.
expenses makes absolutely zero sense. First, let's go ahead and talk about that restaurant video. I spent $121 on a hotel, got some Ubers. I got a banana and rice meal, more Ubers.
Hell yeah, dude.
The
Banana
flight
and
was
rice, dude. Banana and rice meal. She got that, dude. What a beast.
114 there, and the flight that I went to New York next was almost $200. So my total expenses were $779. That means that my total expenses were $779, and my net profit was $2,244 with a profit margin of 74.2%. I hope that this video will make Ilhan Omar see just how easy it is to provide documentation of business. I mean, imagine if I said that I profited $2,000 from this video, but then the video never existed. It should be so easy.
Yeah. That's a good analogy right there. I like that.
To
That's a good analogy.
provide documentation, but let's find out why it has been so difficult for her. So the only evidence of wine actually existing from their company came from an Instagram page. So let's just imagine that they did one big batch and they got 2 tons of grapes to do so, of course, everything being priced in California, Santa Rosa. Mind you, I was very liberal with these expenses. Over $5,000 for grapes, $5,000 for the custom crush fees, even though there was a sign on the door that said they didn't operate out of there. But let's just imagine that they did. Let's imagine that they did have bottles and packaging and labels, you know, $6,000. And then, all of these filing fees. Let's imagine that they actually had them for a second. Thousands of dollars, $4,500 for permits, $350 for that PO mailing box that we visited. But seriously, the amount of expenses doesn't make any sense. There's hundreds of multifamily units that are owned by investors, and they still profit around 55%. So you cannot tell me that Ilhan Omar had close to 100% of expenses. Let's imagine that their very crappy $5 million winery website that then began to disappear cost them $1,800 to make. Let's imagine that they paid somebody almost $1,000 to put together an Instagram page. So many of these things you could do by yourself, but let's just pretend that they paid somebody to take those pictures for Instagram. You know, $1,500 shipping, taxes. The way that they were operating that winery should have cost them, at the very most, being very liberal, around $30,000. This lady once claimed that that winery was...
This is insane, dude. I mean, this really is bloody insane to me. I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe it.
Worth $5 million. And in order to have done that, they would have needed to sell around 461,000 bottles of wine. But there's no way of getting it, and nobody's ever heard of it. It's kind of similar to the thousands of plates that never fed children. If you guys have ever looked...
Yep. Oh, man, dude. It just... The more and more we hear about this, the more... I don't trust Ilhan Omar. I just don't. In any way, shape, or form, I just don't trust her. I don't know how anybody could. She just seems very... Honestly, with all this evidence that Angela Rose is putting up, honestly, it sounds like... yeah, I don't know. It was crazy.
for a rental property. You're going to compare it to the other houses near.
So Pretty Good is saying, here's the thing. You know, the only people who fill out approval surveys are people who have a lot of time on their hands, right? Most Trump people don't fill out those surveys. We don't talk to pollsters. We don't fill out those surveys. So those surveys are always skewed to make it seem like he doesn't have approval. I think Trump deep down has more approval than you realize. Trump has more pull than you realize. The Democrats are so dumb. The Democrat Party is so dumb is what I'm trying to say. That they think that these polls are accurate. Just remember, the people who love Donald Trump don't talk to pollsters. FYI. The people who can't stand Donald Trump definitely talk to pollsters because they got nothing better to do with their lives.
Nearby to know what it should look like, get a feel for the market, right? So the most similar winery to what Ilhan's winery should have been is the Martin Ray Winery. They make around 600,000 cases per year. Their estimated revenue is $12 to $20 million, and their profit is $1.5 to $4 million. That means they have an estimated net margin of 10 to 20%. So when Ilhan claimed that their winery was valued at $5 million, a 10 to 20% net profit would be $100,000 to $300,000 in annual net profit. So that could, at the very least, put us towards the highest range of her margin when she says that she's worth $18,000 to $90,000. But wait, they have a whole other company that claimed to be worth $30 million. And it operated out of a WeWork. So let's look at some of what their expenses could have been. So again, let's be extremely liberal with all of these expenses, even though they didn't actually have an
I'm woke as hell, yeah.
office there, and they were just paying the least amount of money to just use it as a mailing service pretty much. But let's just pretend that they had an office there, and they were spending $42,000 on that office, and almost $400,000 for personnel, and $50,000 for professional services, $30,000 for marketing, and travel, $24,000, even though their business partners, again, were getting $10,000 flights to Dubai for free.
$10,000
let's just pretend,
for
that
free? Hell yeah. I mean, it's not a good thing. I mean, this is crazy, man. This is crazy, man. The Democrats have lost the plot, man.
They were still spending $24,000. And then miscellaneous, sure, let's add $12,000 in there. So let's say that it costs them $600,000 to operate this, even though we know there's no way that it could be that high. So we'll add some printing costs in there, internet costs, salaries for the people, and admin, payroll, taxes, accounting, insurance, software, website, LinkedIn, all of these things, compliance filings. Their realistic first year expenses up to $450,000. This is the most. This is assuming that they actually had some type of office and that there was actually people there that
crazy
would have served us or answer the phone, and not just people who swipe a website clean in a few weeks. I'm not really sure how much it would cost to do that, but at the very most, $450,000 of expenses. So if we were to break that down,
that is truly wild to me. Holy smoke.
$30 million minus $450,000, that should result in about $29.5 million. Add the winery on top of that, you should have $29.6 million as your new net worth minus expenses. And I kid you not, I am being super giving to her right now because I'm acting as if their winery had created 400 to 600,000 bottles of wine, and I'm pretending to subtract those expenses, but it doesn't.
I think we know. It's just crazy, man. You can't investigate Ilhan Omar, or else you know what the left is going to do to you. because the left loves to cover up you know what. I think we know what the left loves covering up the most. I'm not going to say it, but you already know what I want to say.
Seem like there was ever that much wine created. But even in the case that there was, they would still have over $100,000 from that. The consulting firm is just like made up fantasy imaginary. So the most that you could subtract from that is $450,000. These are not small numbers that we're dealing with. $30 million minus the max amount of expenses that a real consulting firm could have. You would still be making $29.5 million. So how do you explain dropping that much? Even if they split it between Will, Alex, and Tim, $30 million, let's say each of them get $10 million, how do you still drop to $18,000? It's important to remind everybody on the internet that we're not being petty right now. These are not small numbers. These are tens of millions of dollars that strangely appear and then disappear. And this has been happening across their businesses, that people invest their own money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, into what they thought was going to be a winery. And then they say, oh, sorry, like we need more money, or like we just can't pay you back. And there's not any operation at all. And then on the other side of things, we see tens of millions of dollars being spent from taxpayers' money, and we never see the fruits of that.
Which is kind of disturbing, by the way. Could you imagine if, it makes me wonder how much money was even earned from this business, and how much of this business was actually just simply funded by taxpayers, allegedly. It's an interesting thing to analyze. It really is. And crazy. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. Anyway, let's keep going, man.
At all. There's just...
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to clip my nails. Let me clip my nails real quick in front of you guys. I'm clipping my nails, everybody. I'm clipping my nails, bro. I got to clip. Clip my nails. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for taking the time to subscribe to the channel. We're at 10,531 subs. Once again, we're at 10,531 subs. I got to thank each and every one of you guys. You guys are amazing. All right, let's get to it. All right. Okay. Okay, let's go.
Empty daycare centers, empty autism centers, restaurants that just appear to be fronts. So many people in America are doing things like this, actually calculating how much their travel costs and trying to make a profit, trying to make it in America, trying to survive. And we should encourage this in America. But it seems like they're encouraging people to go down the wrong path and try to make money from things like a Somali daycare. And at the same time, government, Zohran Mamdani, and the potential new socialist mayor of Los Angeles are trying to create.
That's crazy, man.
Free government programs.
Yeah, we should. First off, there's too many free government programs. Let's just face it, man.
Meanwhile, politicians are stealing money. It is the entrepreneurs who provide the best products and services. That is what makes America great, and that is what we should be encouraging. And if you agree, even just a little bit, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Well, friggin' A, man. Crazy, and crazy. Oh, wow. 4 trillion, damn. That's wild, man. During that time frame, shit. This is interesting. China only pretends to be a free market. I agree with that. It's pretty much ruled over by their government. You really don't have a lot of freedoms, and it's not a capitalistic. China's not capitalistic, in my opinion.
But not everyone is on board with working with China on AI after Bernie Sanders' Capitol Hill event with Chinese scientists slamming the
Biden had a
existential
choice,
threat
dude.
of AI.
Biden had a
Our
choice.
next guest
You know
penned
he
an
did.
article in the Wall Street Journal saying, quote, there may be some legitimate concerns about the technology, but collaborating with China is not the answer. Wall Street Journal Free Expression Deputy Editor Jack Butler joins us now. Jack, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So let's start with, we got the president going to China, but kind of before that, you had the Bernie meeting, okay? He was going to meet with the AI experts to kind of figure out this existential threat. My read on that is if Chinese experts are meeting with you, you're the target. You're the guy they're trying to read. What do you think about it?
I think you're exactly right. I think that when
It's a pretty good direct take on it, man. Holy crap.
someone like Senator Bernie Sanders, who doesn't have a great record of understanding societies that are totalitarian, sometimes he's more fond of them than he ought to be. When someone like that says that we need to have dialogue and cooperation with the Chinese government, essentially, they're
Yeah, if Bernie Sanders is endorsing it, don't go for it. Bernie Sanders is just in my opinion, an insane old man. The fact that he loves socialism so much is scary. Like, that is scary. Socialism is one of the worst ideas ever. So he's a little too into it, man.
There is no distinction there. The civil-military fusion means that there's no distinction between supposedly private actors and public ones. He's a dupe. They're trying to get something out of him. They're trying to convince him to work with them, and that is a dangerous prospect in my view.
Yeah, China's our enemy. Why would you even consider something like that? Jack, let me ask you about this new news that Brian just mentioned, this idea that as President Trump is going to this summit with Xi, he'll take some of these big CEOs with him. NVIDIA and Apple, I noticed, were on that list. If that is true, bringing sort of the brass with you behind it, what do you think he's trying to do there?
Well, he's certainly showing off. President Trump is right. We are leading China. But I think the gap between us and China is not quite as large as I'm comfortable with. And I know, based on past experience, China would love some of our technology, would love some of our secrets. So if they're there as a show of force, as a sort of braggadocious display of look how great we are.
No, we should definitely be concerned about China because my problem with the Chinese government is, one, you can't trust them. They are very authoritarian overall. And I don't trust authoritarian governments, quite frankly. So they're tough to trust. I don't know how you could trust an authoritarian government. I just don't.
Great. If they're there as potential targets for Chinese corporate espionage or something of that nature, that would be concerning.
Well, if I can just follow on this one. You know, we talk about the NVIDIA chips. We don't want to send them the really fancy good chips, but we can send them those lower grade chips because even if they copy them, what's the big deal? Still, many say that they'll tear those apart and be able to see what the company's doing, and that you don't even want to make it an ounce easier for them to be able to compete with us in this sort of war of technology.
These companies should not work with China. If they care about the future of the U.S., these companies that are making these chips, these processors, should not work with China. I beg you. Don't even give them your old stuff. Don't give them anything. I know it'll be profitable in the short term, but it won't be in the long term. Trust me. It won't be good.
Really. Your thoughts on that aspect of it? If these CEOs are going there thinking maybe they'll cut some deals on the lower end stuff.
Yeah, that's still not a great idea in my view. Again, if you look at the record of history, China pretends to be a free market standout. It lures companies into its market, and then it studies them. Once it's gotten everything out of them that it thinks, once it thinks it can copy their technology, kicks them out, sometimes seizes their property. This is not a great model for when it comes to AI, when it comes to chips.
Well, the idea here, okay, is that we're going to try to pursue some guardrails with China. Okay, we'll compete, but let's not anybody get off the rails here and do something stupid. So maybe you think, well, that'd be nice if we could agree to some rules. But it strikes me that China's not the rule-keeping type. So I wonder if it's smart to agree to anything with them.
That's an open question to me at best. I mean, both Senator Sanders and some of the people talking about the Trump administration efforts here are citing the Cold War example. And it's true, if you make the analogy between AI and nuclear weapons, the U.S. and the Soviet Union did talk about these things, but the Soviets constantly reneged on the agreements we made. And those agreements only stood.
Thank you, Bubba J, for sending a gold coin for 10 joules. Mucho apreciato. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
With the credible threat of U.S. force from presidents like Reagan. So this is why when Senator Sanders was talking about this, I just had no faith in any of it. Maybe Trump can pull something off, but still, I'm skeptical here of China being a good faith actor on anything after COVID, after what it does to its population, to its subjugated minorities. I'm counting me
Mr. C's killing it, dude. I love it.
Even with the laughing and the joking that the president does, saying, "Oh, I'm going to tell him that we're winning or whatever," that he understands what you're saying. He understands that China's our adversary in this. But when you look at what's happening and what we've done here in this country with AI, it's driving this rally right now like gangbusters, new records pretty much every single day. So you can see how important it is to stay ahead. Sometimes, what do they say? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Yes, Godfather. That's what it's from. Yes, so it's very important. This is, again, something that Senator Sanders, I don't think, fully understood, because this is a guy who wants to limit the number of deodorants you can use or buy from the store.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Guys like Bernie Sanders. Problem is, Bernie Sanders, if he was to be president and he was to implement all his socialist fantasies, the United States would be in much worse shape. Socialism kills countries. Like, you can have social programs, that's fine, but when you start implementing socialist principles and mainly communist principles, they're all the same. Collectivism's collectivism. If you implement it on a massive scale in government, not good. Not good, because those governments turn authoritarian very, very fast. Straight up.
AI is driving the economy. Now, the thing that I will grant is that there are some non-economic elements of the AI transformation that are at least worth discussing. All the slop out there, all the uses that it's being put to that can sort of change the way humans relate to each other. We should think about that. But in the economic realm, it's clear that right now this stuff is a boon, and China would love to have it.
Yeah.
Jack Butler, don't make your deodorant czar your AI czar. I think that's what I took from that one. Great stuff. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank
you. Yeah. Ooh, this is a new one.
Republic of China is the biggest risk factor in not only the Taiwan Straits, but in the Indo-Pacific region. China has been engaging in the largest peacetime military buildup in history, and they're not having any threats on their borders.
The U.S. and China are signaling that Taiwan could be a priority topic during this week's summit in Beijing. For more, let's bring in Michael Pillsbury, a Fox News contributor and senior fellow for China strategy at the Heritage Foundation.
Oh, hey, we got my boy Cancel in the house. So we got Cancel, we got Bubba J, we got Coyote. What's going on, everybody? We got everybody here, man. We got the whole crew. We've got Annie. I think we even have, like, pretty sure we had Tim Smith on at one point. No, I actually don't think Tim's been on tonight. Now, Tim's probably got some stuff. He's probably watching hockey, actually. Our boy Tim is probably watching a little hockey. No shame in that, though. It's deep in the playoffs right now, so I get it.
Michael, thank you very much for being here. There's so much interest in this trip and so many directions we could take this conversation, but I think one piece that we have not touched on yet today is, what the objectives are and who might be able to effectuate that. And there's been a lot of discussion about maybe CEOs coming along. What can you say about, what can you glean from all of that?
I think the president takes his relationship with Xi Jinping very seriously. He's going to still bring a team with him, other members.
And look, he takes his relationship with him seriously, yes. But at the same time, it's like you can't just kowtow to what China's telling you to do. If China's telling you to do something crazy, just put your foot down.
Members of the cabinet. And sometimes in past summits, it's been in some of the memoirs, instead of himself saying to Xi Jinping, you've done 10.
Eric Klein is wondering who my football team is. My football team is the Seattle Seahawks. Hell yeah.
Bad things. You treat Tibet badly. You treat our farmers badly. And he will turn to a member of the cabinet. In some cases, it was Bob Lighthizer. And say, Bob, why don't you give our complaints about trade? So then Xi Jinping and his team have to look over at Lighthizer, who in one case made almost a 1 hour long presentation of all the things, So that, I think the president wants this summit to be a success. But the issue is who should come with him. Obviously Marco Rubio, obviously Secretary of the Treasury, obviously Head of Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. My recommendation has been for security issues for Taiwan and especially for Iran, the Iran war. He should bring Secretary of War Pete Hegseth with him and have the same kind of thing he's done before. Turn to Pete and say, could you explain now, what we're doing about Taiwan or about Iran or some other security issue? Because in my view, the summit will be both. It'll be trade, jobs, soybeans, more Boeing aircraft, more exports, and the other side is the security part, the sensitive part that in some cases you don't read what happened for 30 years before the documents are declassified. So one side will see very easily the trade talks, but the other side, maybe it will just have a brief comment, like the two sides exchange views.
Right, that's interesting. And if you need Secretary Hegseth to be a bulldog, I don't think he'll have a hard time doing that.
I love his books. He's got 5 books.
And I'm glad you just brought me yours today. I'm going to read that on the trip over there. I'm on Air Force One. So
congratulations, you got one of the 12 seats.
It doesn't recline, though, in the press area. On this Taiwan issue, there's a headline this morning in the LA Times. It says, Taiwan fears Trump will speak off script on its fate in Beijing. It goes on to say, a White House official was definitive U.S. policy toward Taiwan remains the same as the first Trump administration, but Chinese officials told the Times their president, Xi Jinping, intends to raise the matter as a top priority, knowing that only one person, Trump himself, speaks for the administration today. Whether Xi can leverage the intimacy of a private audience to shift Trump's stance, potentially linking it to other U.S. objectives, is the source of significant concern here. But at the same time, the president has a lot of experience dealing with Xi Jinping. Do you think that this concern on the part of the Taiwanese is overblown?
No, it's good for them to be concerned. President Trump's policy on Taiwan has been very clear. He wants the status quo, no change. But many people on Taiwan know they're not a country, according to America. We have no diplomatic recognition of Taiwan. Our senior cabinet officials can't go there. Their senior officials, their president, can't come here. We don't even use the word president to describe the leader of Taiwan. This all goes back.
That's wild. Is it true that Taiwan doesn't want to be part of China? And I don't blame them, to be honest. Can you blame them? Can't really blame them, man. Makes perfect sense.
Back to Nixon, Jimmy Carter, and President Trump is just saying no change, status quo. But the Chinese are not happy with that.
They're going to
They
push
see
him.
too many things have changed, so they're going to try to persuade him.
Well, we'll see how it turns out. Michael Pillsbury, thank you. It's all the time we have. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox.
Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. That's all I got to say. Well, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Oh, my God. We got a lot of views tonight. A lot of subscribers tonight. A lot of viewers. I'm loving it, man. You guys have been incredible tonight. Well, I don't know if there's anything else we can really There's probably other things to react to. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Up in Smoke. Ruthless unpacks Virginia redistricting ruling.
It's a great day for Virginia and the rule of law. You know, the Democrats tried to steal it. Their illegal, unconstitutional referendum was cheating Virginia people out of their voice.
I think the people all over the country who are looking at this see that this is a wildly different outcome when something's done with Democrats in control of the state versus Republicans. I don't think that's right.
Bipartisan reaction, very different there to the Virginia Supreme Court's ruling this week, finding last month's referendum vote approving mid-decade redistricting to overwhelmingly favor Democrats. Turns out the court says it was null and void from the start. Now, that's where I started with the Ruthless podcast guys when I dropped by their studio here in Washington.
Well, good for them for voiding it, man. Needed to happen. Needed to be voided, without a doubt.
It's part of our ongoing series of conversations heading into the midterms.
So, gentlemen, as we are talking, and we've discussed the midterms quite a bit, this wrench that the Virginia Supreme Court just threw into things for Democrats, it's a huge ruling.
Talk about your all-time backfire, right? Democrats went all in on this situation, but it turns out when you write congressional districts in crayon, courts seem to have a different opinion about that. But I think the cascading effect is actually pretty significant here because you had a whole bunch of red states that then responded to what they thought Virginia had accomplished there that are redistricting in their own right. And what was a +3, +4 Republican situation in redistricting is now maybe 7, 8, 9, or 10. So it could have real ramifications, no question.
And you got to look at it not just in the math, but also in the money. Democrats spent, tens of millions, I think over 100 million, I think 65 million alone in just dark money groups in this Virginia redistricting effort. So all of that is up in smoke. And then, like Josh was talking about here, you've got...
all this redistricting stuff is just so that way they can... Because here's the thing. The Democrats still realize how unpopular they are. Like, Democrats deep down understand without a shadow of a doubt that they're still a very unpopular party. So they're doing everything in their power to redistrict in a way, I think, to give them more seats and give them more Democrat seats. So that's a big deal. We'll see what the result ends up being, though. But I guess the Supreme Court shot it down or something, so great. Good job.
What else they did, California, Utah, what's that, 5, 6 districts for them, and then everything the Republicans have done, and then the VRA stuff on top of it. So, you might actually see a swing of 10 districts here.
Yeah, and what the Virginia Supreme Court said to them was that we warned you. They were warned months before. Procedurally, the way that you're doing this violates the Virginia state constitution, and so it doesn't matter what the referendum vote is going to be if ultimately the court says you didn't follow the right steps.
Yeah, you didn't have to be a constitutional expert or a rocket scientist to read the language that was listed on that Virginia ballot and conclude that this is a little bit stilted.
It wasn't in the name of fairness?
It said restore fairness, I believe. So let's go from 6-1 to 10-1 in the seats, and that will restore fairness.
Right. No, that's exactly right. One of my favorite quotes is from a guy named David Livingston, and he said, "Learn from other people's mistakes because you'll never live long enough to make them all."
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Let's hear that again. So basically what he's saying is learn from other people's mistakes. It also saves you a lot of time. But yeah, a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. A fool learns from his own mistakes. So it's very important to read a lot of books. Books that teach you certain skills, like maybe how to run a business properly, Instead of you having to stumble through it, you could read a book written by a successful businessman and understand how to run your operation better, that sort of thing. So there's plenty of ways. You save so much time learning from other people who have been there and done that, you know?
Yourself. And so I
That's a
think
good quote.
it's a great
For
quote.
so many different contexts.
So many different contexts, but here you have Democrats who have just like oversold what it is that they're able to accomplish in the midterm. And every midterm, when the other party's in power, the Democrats, you know, right now they're historically in a position to do very well. But the reality is, Republicans might be able to hold on.
They oversold and they're underfunded. I mean, there's a huge cash disparity between Republicans and Democrats now, right? And
Well, it's because Democrats spend. Here's the problem: Democrats have a spending problem. Republicans are actually good at not spending all their money at once, and they're really good at not putting all their eggs in one basket. Big difference. And but yeah, no, the Democrats are cooked, in my opinion. I think these, you know, the Democrats are like, oh, blue wave's coming in, blue wave's coming in. I don't think that's really the case. I really don't. I'm not believing it.
after they spent all this money, you got to think like Hakeem Jeffries doesn't feel so great today.
Well, he did tell Florida FAFO, and so that he may have to rethink that. Although, listen, what Florida has done is going to be tied up in legalities and fights for, and as with many of these other states, post the Supreme Court decision last week, Alabama, Louisiana, maybe South Carolina, and others, it's going to take time to see how it all parses out. But if everything that they have planned works, it will be a net advantage to Republicans. I want to talk about a couple of other races because last time I chatted with you guys, Texas and that big GOP primary, very expensive down there. Heated, nasty. The president still is being asked, "Are you going to weigh in?" He says, "Probably will." But we're almost to primary election day.
Yeah, he may. And you're right. I mean, this is a huge deal with massive ramifications for Republicans because Texas is a big state, costs an awful lot of money, and there is no chance that you can hold the United States Senate if Republicans lose Texas. You just can't do it. And so this one has big ramifications. My understanding is pretty neck and neck. Johnny, I know you looked at polling this week on that.
Yeah, well, if you talk to the Cornyn people, they will tell you that they have a 1-point advantage in this race. And if you look
Meaning in the primary.
In the primary.
Okay.
If you look at the first iteration, Cornyn finished 1 point ahead. So he definitely, if they're to be believed, he has an advantage. But what Ken Paxton has in his back pocket is a career that's built entirely on the principle of winning a runoff in Texas politics. So he is going to be a force, and this is going to be a very, very close race.
Yeah, what do you think are the general election implications of either one?
Well, I mean, Cornyn, I think you could set your watch to him winning by 10 points in the state. I think Paxton has this advantage, like Ashbrook was alluding to, with the profile of the voter who shows up in a runoff situation in Texas, right? So if it does happen and Paxton's the nominee, he's going to have to raise a ton of money. It's an extremely expensive state, and he's going to be running against a national Democrat party that really wants to. I mean, they've been trying to do battleground Texas for a decade now, and the Beto O'Rourke raised millions and millions of dollars. So I expect if it's Paxton, they're going to pour a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do this for a living, right? And the one rule of midterms, particularly when you were in power, is that you want to mitigate as many things that can go wrong in the off year. And that means clearing things up like what has not been cleared up in Texas, because anything that can go wrong does go wrong. And in this case, you got a guy like Tallarico who's captivated the imagination of the progressive left. He's got a whole bunch of cash. I do think he's totally out of step with where the Texas electorate is ultimately, but you don't really want to test that in a midterm election. And if there is a fundamental difference between where Cornyn is, if he's more electable, ultimately Republicans are going to want to figure out how to not spend money in Texas. And that's the balance that I think the president is weighing right now.
And that's the thing, man. So far, all these blue run cities are going to crap because you're getting like these socialist governors, these socialist mayors. You're getting these socialists, and they're basically saying, "Oh, rich people, we hate you," blah blah blah. And then these rich guys are like, "You know what? You hate us so much? Fine, we're gonna move away. We're gonna go to Florida, or we're gonna go to Texas." Because it's like they don't want to deal with these socialist mayors, this socialist state government, you know.
whether to jump into this or not.
I am fascinated too by California. The gubernatorial race out there, the LA mayor's race. I know you guys talked to Spencer Pratt, which a lot of people think he's a reality show guy. He's got these really cool ads, but can he win in Los Angeles?
I would love it.
I hope he wins, and maybe he can. I don't know. It's very possible that people in Los Angeles are just as fed up as he is. So they probably may elect him. I don't know. If they do, I mean, I'm happy about that. That's like a sign that Los Angeles is finally healing. If Spencer Pratt wins, it's a sign that Los Angeles is healing.
I would love it. I think for me, I think for us, we had him on this week on Ruthless. He's a stand-in for so much of the frustration that we've seen in nationwide. Every state in the union has got these deep blue municipalities that have been just rife with corruption. You find out about new stuff every week. This week was Ohio. We had a couple of months of Minnesota. California is omnipresent. He's a stand-in for that frustration. You could tell just by talking to him. It's authentic as all get out.
It is. You hear the frustration in his voice. He is clearly the angry citizen who has had it with what his government in his city has been doing. 7,000 homes burned down, and if you listen to him, it's preventable. If those reservoirs would have actually been full, if Karen Bass had actually done her job, it would have been prevented. But you got a guy like him, you have other people in California who understand that unless you change the way your government operates, you will continue to get the same result.
They burned down his house, and he turned around and he learned everything about how to run the city as a response.
Right.
And so he's broadened that frustration.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, it sucks about the house part, you know. It sucks that his house had to get burned down and everything, but, you know, he's inspiring me. I'm inspired. I might run for, mayor of Coos Bay or something. You know? I'll run for mayor of Coos Bay. That's what I'll do.
Into everything from, trash pickup to these NGOs who are bilking taxpayers. And so I think
homelessness is not a business,
right,
is what he said.
Right.
It's just like, yes. I mean,
it has been there in California, though. They've spent millions and millions of dollars on it. So we'll see if it's enough to tap into changing things in a place like Los Angeles. Meantime, thank you, guys. Always good to have a conversation with you.
Great to see you, Shannon. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Amazing, man. Okay. Let's see what else we got, man. Give me a moment. may take a little longer. Well, I don't really know what else I want to look at the moment. I'm a little tired, and I think I might actually just go to bed here in a second. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I should just go to bed? I'm tired. I'm a tired boy right now. Well, I can't think of anything else I want to react to, so I guess what we could do, we'll end the show with me talking about what I think about how the markets are going to be in the morning time, you know? What sort of reaction is going to be there in the markets overall. Now, granted, there's always various reactions all across the board. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's try this. There we go. Okay, that works. Gus is saying you need to react to the Russian Victory Day parade in Moscow, Russia. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Vladimir Putin. I think Vladimir Putin sucks. I'm not a fan of the Ukraine. I'm not a fan of Putin. I'm just not a fan of Russia or Ukraine. Putin had a crash out. That doesn't shock me. That doesn't shock me at all. In fact, if anything, it kind of makes sense to some odd degree, you know. Okay. I'm actually pretty tired, you guys. Like, I'm legitimately tired right now. Way more tired than I anticipated. I've been nursing a hangover all day. The fact that I was even able to do 3 hours of streaming, shocking. But I do want to thank you guys. If you guys want to send a super chat or a gift before we end the stream, you don't have to. Nobody's required. I never require this, but we always, at the end of the stream, we try to do hey, if you want to send a tiny little gift or tiny super chat, we appreciate it. Whatever you guys want to send. You don't even have to send anything. If you haven't already, though, tap the subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. It really does help the channel grow. More subscribers we get, the better. So we're trying to reach 11,000 subs as quickly as we can. We'll see what we can pull off, man. All right, you guys. Well, I'm out. We're going to actually, we'll end the stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a good night, everybody. Have a damn good night.